Oh, it feels so good to be back from vacation, from the bye, and I'm greeted to an empty studio. We sent Lucas away for the day so that I could have my space, ease back into things. That's unfortunate for you. It's unfortunate for Robert, who does not get to take the day off. We're happy to be with you until 1 o'clock. 615-737-1045 is the number if you would like to call the show and talk about what it is that you did yesterday with your Sunday. Instead of watching Titans football, they take their Week 10 bye, and they do benefit from a couple of results over the weekend, but maybe not in the way that you would conventionally think. We'll get into that. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch is where you can interact with the show via the F&M Bank chat. How much have you been dreading this?
What's a fancy word for a lot? Immensely. I've been looking forward to this. No, I've been whatever the opposite of that is.
So what I missed? What happened?
Nothing. We had fun. Good shows. Just like the exact opposite of what's going to happen today.
Oh, sure. I mean, that's typically the case. It's, I imagine the burden that the two of you feel when I'm here is the way that I feel when I can walk in here and there's nobody else in the studio, and it's mine.
Yeah, well, you can have it. I don't think that Lucas would argue with that. What I'm going to try to avoid today, last night on Primetime, you went on this long soliloquy, this big filibuster about all the things you did, and this is what I did on my Sunday back from my vacation, and I had cryotherapy, and I went to the sauna, and I plucked my eyebrows, and so I'm trying to avoid you going through that whole rigmarole, and we could maybe talk about something more fun, like what I did with my weekend.
Somebody on YouTube, Baby Bosch, says, Buck, what was your modus operandi?
Boo.
On the week off?
Stop it. No, we can't make this a thing. We can't make this a thing.
It's one of the most cringy ways I've ever heard anybody on this show ask a question. And I've asked many cringy questions in my time, but that will live in infamy as one of the weirdest things that Lucas Panzica has ever done.
All right, my cringiest question to you, or at least it would be to anyone else, it would be a normal question, but to you, it's probably cringy. Do you feel better or worse about the Titans after the Mike Borghanszi press conference and after the bye week?
Yeah, so obviously Borghanszi gave the press conference while I was out, and Robert and Lucas filled in and did so well. And the press conference is something that I listened to probably Friday on my way back from Miami via the podcast, just to kind of get the Cliff Notes version. Obviously, I get emailed transcripts of everything that they say when they do give these press conferences. Titans PR does send us transcripts, so I read through it as well, and we will go through some of those things. Do I feel better or worse about them based on the Mike Borghanszi press conference? I think Titans fans should feel better when they hear him speak, because he is the person with a plan that they are going to try and execute. He is the person who has not had his reputation damaged by all of the bad things that they have done. He is least associated. He and Cam Ward are least associated with the ineptitude of the Tennessee Titans prior to their arrival here. So he gets the equity, especially when they send him out there without Brinker. Because I think the Brinker thing hurts him more than it helps him, even though he went into some detail about how Chad Brinker, in his role as president of football operations, is invaluable to Mike Borghanszi, and I don't have any reason to not believe that. I know they know each other very well for a number of years at this point in time. Just because Titans fans don't like the Brinker of it all, or at least don't seem to, and, I don't think that they're outright wrong in some of those feelings, even if their reasons for disliking Chad Brinker are different than what they should actually be. I think that Mike Borghanszi does himself a lot of goodwill when he gets out there and just speaks to the fans through the media. I thought he handled himself well. I thought he articulated his plan for fixing this thing well. He is not obligated to speak very often. He was not obligated to speak last Wednesday when he did. There was some, I think, negotiation on behalf of Titans PR to get him out there. But they just have so few good things going for them that anybody that can soothe the somewhere between apathy and rage of this fan base for all the mud that they've been dragged through the last, I don't know, would you say 3.5 years, maybe a little more? at this point in time. I think Borghanszi is the one least associated. I don't think people feel good about Amy Adams-Strunk. I don't think people care about Mike McCoy, what he has to say one way or the other, whether that's fair to Mike or not. Like, we're just kind of passing the time with Mike McCoy, yeah? Like, we can all agree?
Yeah, I agree with that.
And so I feel that of all the people that should speak on behalf of that organization with any kind of frequency, it should be Mike Borghanszi, even though that's not something that he likes to do, because he just wants to sit in his office and grind tape and find players and build a franchise up from the studs, because that's what he's going to have to do. And that's who you want in that role, especially in a situation like this one. So what did we learn from the Titans on the bye? Because Mondays are always a moment for what did we learn from the week that was. In the absence of Titans football, we learned that Mike Borghanszi is somebody who the fan base is willing to lend that trust to. We learned that for the purposes of securing a second consecutive season with the number 1 overall draft pick, that the results this weekend did go your way, where a couple of teams, the Saints and the Jets, who had, like you, only one win on the season, did win yesterday. The Jets beat the lowly Browns with Justin Fields having no semblance of a passing game whatsoever and getting a bunch of yards after the catch for his one big completion of the day. And you had a situation where I wouldn't pretend to have watched a bunch of Tyler Shuck so far this season. In fact, yesterday, I know this is not a popular opinion, Robert. I hate Red Zone. I think it's such a waste of time. I think it is completely... It's like the fast food version of football. I don't know why people are obsessed with it, other than I understand the premise of I've never paid for NFL Sunday Ticket in my life, so I don't know what that costs. I think we had some people on primetime last night telling me various different prices. It sounds significantly more expensive than just tacking Red Zone onto your cable package or whatever you're using to get your television services at this point in time. But I can't stand it. I want to know what's happening on downs beyond third down and when teams are in the red zone. I want the context of the games as opposed to just the eye candy. And I get that people are using it for fantasy and that I have a fantasy football team, but I don't really pay attention to it because we don't put any money on it because we are NFL reporters in the Titans Media League and we can't do that or shouldn't do that. And the rest of it, I watched a little bit of Tyler Shuck yesterday. I watched Jackson Dart until he got knocked out of the game with a concussion. I was pretty impressed by Tyler Shuck in a one-game sample size against a Carolina team that's 500, but the Panthers aren't bad. They're not good. Not bad either, and they've had success up until this point. The Saints won 17-7 yesterday. Giants blew a 10-point lead. They are 0-4 when leading by double digits so far this season, which is an insane stat to have out there. But Jackson Dart sustains yet another concussion. Russell Wilson goes in and does absolutely nothing, and the Giants fall to the Bears in Chicago in the snow, 24-20. But beyond that, we'll get into this a little bit later. Kenneth Underwood also says he needs to see who's going to hit his parlay for him on the day. That's also something that I can't participate in. I don't bet on the NFL for, again, ethical purposes.
Yeah, Red Zone is a secondary stream. Like, if you're going to watch Red Zone, you've got it up on a second screen, maybe an iPad, your second computer screen, and you're just watching it to keep up with all the stats while you have your main game on the TV. I don't have a problem with Red Zone being on, just if it's your primary source of consuming football, then you have an attention issue.
Yeah, no, it's not for people who actually care about the football that's being played on that day. They just want to see the results and see how it impacts them, which is fine. There's obviously a huge audience for that. Red Zone is a very popular thing. I'm just, my entire brain is conditioned to watch one game at a time, so I understand everything, or at least have the context of everything that happened in that specific game. So, what did we learn on the bye beyond the Mike Borghanszi buy-in that the fan base seems to have? And I didn't tap into the show at any point last week. I assume the comment section reflected the idea that they liked what Borghanszi had to say on a couple of different fronts, and we'll replay some of that audio for you because I'd like the opportunity to talk about some of what he said.
Yeah, and we ran a poll last week. How do you feel about the Titans after Mike Borghanszi's press conference? And 73% of the audience said they felt better about the situation the Titans were in. So the fan base was feeling a touch better, a scoosh better than they were prior to that.
The other thing that I learned is that the Titans are objectively the worst team in football because I could not envision, and Lucas isn't here to back me off stuff like this today, so Robert's going to have to do it if I get too negative on them. But I don't know how anybody could watch the rest of the slate of football on any given week and say, yeah, the Titans are capable of doing what Miami did to the Bills yesterday. You just won't convince me that there's a world in 2025 where that exists, or that the Colts could be taken to overtime by the Falcons, like the Titans aren't taking the Colts to overtime at this point in time. And maybe they have games against the Saints and the Browns this year, and I think it's reasonable to believe that both the Saints and the Browns are bad enough in spots to go out there and lose a game to the Tennessee Titans. One will be at home, the Saints in week 17, if I'm not mistaken, and the Browns are coming up on the schedule. We have 3 consecutive home games before we hit the road again. Cleveland is one of those road games. You're just not going to convince me that the Titans aren't, like, by a considerable margin. They don't need to tank. They're awful. Like Tyler Shuck doing things yesterday. The Titans don't have a Chris Olave to bail Tyler Shuck out in that moment. The Titans don't have a Myles Garrett. Maybe Jeff Simmons will be back this week. We'll see. It sounds like he's tracking to play this Sunday. I know the Titans update was dated, and it said that they're hosting the Chargers. Obviously, that's not the case. They will play the Texans, potentially, without C.J. Stroud. So we'll see if the Davis Mills effect can continue for 2 straight weeks, because the Texans got away with one yesterday. I don't know what's more atrocious, the way that the Texans screwed around and then won that game, or the way that the Jags lost it.
Well, okay, hold on. We'll get into it at headlines. Don't be throwing our whole cornucopia of topics out amongst the table.
Are you really worried that I'm going to run out of things to say?
No, but I didn't want you to take any of my stats away.
So all of the different things that were observed over the course of the bye week is that this team is going to track for the number 1 overall pick with 8 weeks to go without much inhibition. And we will talk about the idea of whether you should be rooting for them to continue to lose, or if there is so much detriment in the sheer amount of losses to the number 1 overall pick at quarterback this year, that there is some benefit to them winning a game, maybe 2, if it can still net you the number 1 overall draft pick. I'm not saying that they need to win out. God knows they're not capable. But there is harm that can be done if Cam Ward goes through his rookie season with only 1 win, and that win being as back-asswards a win as you will see. I mean, there's not a drunker win on the season than the Titans win against the Cardinals, right? I would maybe that Texans-Jags game yesterday, because that was nonsensical too, to end on a thick 6 that way. And I know the Texans were leading when Trevor Lawrence got hit and coughed up the football, and it was able to be returned by whoever number 90 is for the Texans. One of the funnier visuals that you have. But I couldn't find a game on the schedule this year where there was a worse or a more improbable win. Oh, wait, didn't we find a win percentage that was more improbable than the Titans this year?
It was them in Miami.
Okay, but it was still them. I thought there was another game this year that might have had a slightly worse win percentage.
Yeah, there were some. The Broncos comeback against the Giants. They trailed 26-8 at the beginning of the fourth quarter. I think that was the most improbable. They had a win probability of 0.7.
That's crazy.
That was one game where you're like, is Bo Nix good? Yeah, he's good. If you ask Broncos fans any other week, is Bo Nix good? Kinda. Sometimes.
We talked about this on the Fox National show on Saturday with Fitzy, and Fitzy's down on Bo Nix because he says you can't trust him and all these different things. And yet I look at Bo Nix and I see that he is tied for the NFL lead with 21 total touchdowns. And yeah, so what if they're ugly and he's doing it in erratic ways and you probably don't trust him out there, but he's doing enough to get the job done. And at the end of the day, the wins don't have to be pretty. They just have to be wins, unless you're the Titans, of course. You have headlines?
I have headlines.
They're next.
It's time for NFL headlines with me. I'm Bert. And that's Buck.
One of my favorite things that you do with that segment is whenever Lucas tries to start it and you just interrupt him.
Yeah, you like that because I do that to you. And you like that I'm doing it to someone else.
I just like an even playing field.
That's not necessarily fair, though. You know, he's like my buddy, my friend. He has my back.
No, I know. That's why it means more to me.
Oh,
yeah.
that I would also do it to him.
Yes.
Yeah, it's out of love when I do it to Lucas. It's out of hate when I do it to you.
That's
and Titans fans are probably hating the fact that the Jags and the Texans couldn't tie, but they didn't. The Texans came back. They outscored the Jaguars 26-0.
Ridiculous.
In the fourth quarter to come back and get the win. Trevor Lawrence with the interception, fumble, whatever you want to call it. William Anderson coming around the corner, knocked it into Sheldon Rankins. We got a thick 6 to end the game. The Jaguars, who at one point looked like they had a comfortable hold on a wild card spot, now see it slipping away as the Texans head to Nashville this week, looking to get to 500. The wild card berth is opening up for a lot of teams, but Jaguars blew it when they had to face. They didn't even have to face C.J. Stroud. They had to face a long-necked Davis Mills to get the win, and they poo-pooed all over themselves, Buck.
Yeah, I would say that they did. Trevor Lawrence is not redeeming himself this season, right? If I'm Liam Cohen, I'm looking around and be like, hey, this very acquirable quarterback contract that we have on our books. And again, it depends on where they finish with draft order and things like that. And they do have some, well, no, I guess they don't have draft capital because they gave up their first-round pick to acquire Travis Hunter this year, who remains on injured reserve. This is one of the big things that I'm curious to see, and this has been a talking point for the Jags for some time. It was kind of glossed over in the early part of the season because they were getting just turnovers by the dozen. It was ridiculous. They're not consistently getting pressure on the quarterback. They did get to Davis Mills twice yesterday, but they're not affecting the quarterback the way that you would expect a team that has the kind of draft pedigree on their front seven to be able to get after the quarterback. It's putting them in a situation where they can let teams back into games. And I know that a defensive player ended up, I mean, the game was won because Trevor Lawrence still had to drive basically from midfield to get the lead back, or to get the opportunity to get the lead back to put them in field goal position or to potentially score a touchdown. Obviously, they never got that opportunity because he coughed up the ball, and whoever number 90 is for the Texans ran it back for a thick 6.
Sheldon Rankins, former first-round pick by the New Orleans Saints.
Okay. So, Texans defense is awesome, by the way. They are awesome. They deserve a better offense because they are excellent. They are the number one scoring defense in football, and that's still with the Jags putting up 29 points on them yesterday. So Jacksonville is not as good as people thought they were in the early onset. I think people have been questioning generally Trevor Lawrence, and correctly questioning Trevor Lawrence, because he is not somebody that you trust. And today, I assume, what is going to be asked of Liam Cohen in a recap press conference on a Monday is, what are you going to do to be able to affect the quarterback more frequently, because Davis Mills cannot be allowed to beat you from the pocket.
Yeah, especially damning when you talk about the Jaguars' pressure, considering it's the Texans' offensive line, like something that doesn't inspire any amount of confidence. Right. And even basic fans understand that they might as well have Austin Deculus over there at left tackle, who did not have a bad game for the Chargers last night.
Your boy.
Another game that, from a game that indirectly affected Titans in their division to a game that directly affected Titans and their chase for the number one overall pick, the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets, and what might have been the stinkiest, most when you look at this
score,
it's
a fun stinky game though.
When you look at the score, you would think like, okay, they really came out here and fought it out. Nope. It was just a big stinker. Big stinky stinker. You know who's the biggest and stinky stinker of all? Justin Fields.
Do you have these numbers that you were looking up during the pre-show?
Woof.
Yeah, that's bad.
A woof. He ended that game with 42 passing yards, net passing yards. So if you're unfamiliar, net passing is the amount of passing yards you have after the number of sack yards you had lost were subtracted from that. So I wanted to give you some net passing yard games from Justin Fields just this year. So just this year, I already told you that he had 42 net passing against the Browns, 27, net passing yards against the Bills, 45 net passing yards against the Broncos, 46 net passing yards against the Panthers, and 54 net passing yards once again. So all I'm telling you is maybe Woody Johnson wasn't wrong. Maybe Woody Johnson.
Then you just said the quiet part out loud? It's not even quiet. You just read it.
If he would just complete a pass. Only 2 passes in this Browns game were thrown beyond the line of scrimmage. You're just a limited, and for what it's worth, Breece Hall was awesome. I was very impressed with Breece Hall. Only 21 carries for 83 yards, 1 catch for 42 and a touchdown. But he looks like the only part of that offense that is competent. But you're not here for that. You guys are here for the draft talk. Because of the Jets getting their second win of the season, the Titans are the only team in the NFL with 1 win, giving them sole possession of the number 1 overall pick. I told you in my update, according to the Football Power Index, they have a 29.4% chance to end the year with that number 1 overall pick. How'd you feel about this game and what it did for the Titans?
Well, I mean, it's good for the Titans because there's nothing good that's going to come from the season on the field, right? And we're going to rehash that.
At least in the form of wins.
Yeah, I mean, well, like I said, they do still have both the Browns and the Saints on the schedule. If they get swept by the Browns and the Saints, and they are who we thought they were the entire time, then all right, whatever. Like, you're still tracking for the number 1 overall pick. But in a season where as a fan, you shouldn't be rooting for your team to win. And I know that's counterintuitive, and I don't, like I said, I do not endorse tanking. I do not believe that tanking really is a thing, at least in the on-field product. I don't think that coaches or players go out there and half-ass it for the sake of draft order. They don't care about the draft order. They're not going to be here when that draft pick is made. A lot of these players on the Titans roster, a lot of these coaches on the Titans staff are not going to be a part of next year's or the 2026 number 1 overall pick. They didn't give a damn. So when it comes to the way that front offices go about maneuvering and giving teams or taking things away from teams that kind of restrict them more than they might already be limited by their own roster deficiencies, there you might make the argument. But they don't have to tank. They're going to lose organically, and it helps every time one of these bottom feeders right around them wins. I don't know how many more games the Browns are going to win. I think that Dylan Gabriel is probably going to end up out of the lineup sooner rather than later. I bet Shedeur Sanders gets some run here. Wouldn't it be something if Shedeur Sanders gets a start when the Titans go to Cleveland here in a couple of weeks?
I think that would be, at least from a content standpoint, would be a lot of fun. But I also haven't been – Gabriel had a terrible second half to that game, but he also looks like a rookie quarterback. I don't think it makes a lot of sense to trade a guy off who you thought was valuable enough to be your week 1 starter in Joe Flacco to a divisional team that is directly affecting you, and then go, okay, no, we want to start Dylan Gabriel. And then after 2 weeks, you're like, oh, this guy looks like a rookie quarterback. Let's start Shedeur Sanders, who is probably also going to look like a rookie quarterback. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but Browns are going to Brown. The MVP odds have shifted noticeably after this past weekend in football. I'll note the 2 games that I think impacted that the most. One would be the New England Patriots and their very convincing win over the Buccaneers, 28-23. Baker Mayfield, not a bad game, but not necessarily playing with a full deck either. They were able to get the win, and the Rams shellacking the 49ers, 42-26. Their 2 quarterbacks are now your 2 MVP favorites. Depending on where you look, it could be Drake May or Matthew Stafford. I'll start with Matthew Stafford, who is having the best start to his career that he has had since, 2021. His completion percentage right now is sitting at 67.1, which would be the best of his career sans a year in 2021 and a year in, God, I hate finding stats with my little bitty eyes, 2015. He leads the league in touchdowns. He's only got 25 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. He looks incredible. Drake May looks like a phenom. I'm interested to see where you lean on this. If the season ended today, who would be your NFL MVP?
You know, and this was prior, because Josh Allen was the favorite prior to yesterday's games taking place, and then they got shelled by the Dolphins. Not even shelled, they just got soundly beat by the Dolphins.
Him and Patrick both dropped out of the top 2 favorite odds.
Yeah, so I think, because this is also a conversation around Coach of the Year, I think that Shane Steichen is going to win it. As long as the Colts don't implode in the second half, they're going into a bye. They won yesterday. Shane Steichen's going to win Coach of the Year because Mike Vrabel's already won it. I do think Mike Vrabel's going to get votes, but the difference between Mike Vrabel here and Mike Vrabel in New England is that Mike Vrabel's got the best quarterback that he's probably ever going to have in his coaching career. It seems. Drake May is excellent. There were MVP chants yesterday in Tampa at Raymond James Stadium, and I know Patriots fans are fired up and they're traveling, and that's going to carry over in ways that have momentum. I would probably go with Drake May. If the season ended today, it's just what the Patriots are doing is so improbable to me because their roster is less talented than the Tennessee Titans. They do not have a wide receiver. Stephon Diggs is having a good year, but Drake May is helping Stephon Diggs have a good year. That offensive line is not good. They should not be better than the Titans' offensive line unit, and yet they're clearing holes in the run game, and Trajan Henderson is as explosive as any running back in football. I know he's a rookie, but he's a stud. It is really... I don't think Titans fans actually care. I'm sure there's some, still left over with, see what we could have had if we had Mike Vrabel. Yeah, but you don't have Drake May. Like, it's not Vrabel. It's that this quarterback is excellent. He is what Caleb Williams did yesterday in the second half of that game was impressive. I thought that Caleb Williams looked as good as I've seen him look in quite some time. And Bo Nix is erratic, and I don't trust him on a worse roster, but Bo Nix also has a cheat code of a defense that's just going to give him more opportunities to be able to capitalize on as opposed to him willing his team to a win. Drake May is excellent across the board. He's making everybody on that team better. Everybody thinks that when you draft a quarterback in the first round, that quarterback should inherently be able to elevate everything about your roster. I don't think that's true in most places. I think it is true of what's happening with the New England Patriots. I also think that the buys that they made on defense, like the free agent ads, Milton Williams is everything that you could have wanted, and that was a part-time player for the Philadelphia Eagles. That rarely do teams spend the way that the Patriots did. Hell, we just saw it with the Titans last season. Rarely do teams spend in free agency with that sheer amount of cap dollars allocated towards other positions on the roster. They're getting dividends that most teams don't get, and they've got a quarterback that most teams don't have. So if the season ended today in Week 10, I would probably take Drake May over Stafford.
It's also worth noting, I don't disagree with you that coming into this season, their roster looked a little depleted from the talent standpoint, but they also had an incredible rookie draft. At least 10 games in, it looks to be that case. Will Campbell at left tackle, Jared Wilson at left guard, Kyle Williams, who had a long touchdown yesterday from Washington State. Also, Trajan Henderson, who was incredible yesterday.
It was good.
His breakout game. So they had a great draft class that really helped them out. And I think that is only going to pay dividends moving forward, especially with a rookie quarterback on a rookie deal.
7 straight wins for the Patriots.
So this season, 7 straight wins for the Patriots. I would be very interested to go back over the season and see how many people had dominant wins in one week and then fell in the next week. I think parity is at an all-time high in the NFL right now. So the Bills, who had a monster week last week, a statement win over the Chiefs, fell flat on their face in a gross Miami game. The Steelers, 1 week removed from defeating the Indianapolis Colts, fall flat on their face to the Chargers on Sunday Night Football. And the Panthers, who we thought week 1 was the best team in the NFL, the Green Bay Packers, 1 week after beating the Green Bay Packers, fall flat on their face to the lowly New Orleans Saints and a rookie quarterback that you noted earlier in the show, Tyler Shuck.
Yeah.
So I think the definitive theme of this season is, you thought your team was good?
Is there some relief for Titans fans just knowing objectively that your team is actually the worst? Like you don't have to sweat it. You don't have to think twice about it. Just watch football anywhere else in the country, and damn shit. I mean, hell, not even in the country. Yesterday in Berlin, the damn Falcons looked like they had more juice than any Titans game you've watched this season. Maybe there is some blessed relief in just knowing, they're actually the worst, and that they are not capable of doing anything even remotely like 31 other teams in the NFL at any given point.
It takes some solace to Titans fans, though, that even good teams, even teams that were thought to be like, that's a good team. The Lions, the Lions week 1 lost to the Packers. We're like, the Lions are
and
bad.
Their offense looked awful, right? And now Goff has been excellent. Goff has truly been excellent. And I know they've got a good offensive line. I know they got a good roster and all these things. But, Goff is really doing – he was 25 of 33 completed. So that's 75.8% on his completion percentage. 320 and 3 touchdowns, no picks, a rating of 135.9. 44-22. And I know Washington's without Jaden Daniels, but, I didn't think that the problem yesterday with Washington was their offense. Jared Goff just went out there and shelled them.
Yeah, it's definitely tough when you lose one of your defensive leaders in Daron Payne. When he decided, he was like, this football stuff, yeah, it's cool and all, but what if I just boxed Amon-Ra St. Brown real quick? And he came all the way. It was almost like he was throwing a discus. He came all the way back and just cold-cocked him right in the jaw. So it's tough for me to feel bad for the Commanders when it's a self-inflicted wound like that, but the poor get poorer in their case.
Indeed. Those are headlines?
No, we could do a little check-in with something that will impact the Titans' draft favor. Draymond Jones made his debut for the Baltimore Ravens.
Why do you want to talk about this?
Just to keep Titans up to date on whether their pick would improve from a 5th-round pick to a 4th-round pick. And I think Titans fans should look pretty ecstatic. Draymond Jones did not have a sack in week 1, but he did have a number of pressures, looked electric, gave the Ravens some juice on the defensive side.
So the reported conditions for Draymond Jones being able to give the Titans a 4th-round pick as opposed to a 5th-round pick from Baltimore is he needs 2 sacks in the regular season, and the Ravens need to make the playoffs. After the Steelers lost last night, ugly game between the Chargers and the Steelers in Los Angeles, even though it was clearly a Pittsburgh crowd. They are heavy favorites, the Ravens, now to reclaim the top of that division, even though they're still under 500 at this point in time. Lamar was battling, really, in the early part of it and found
probably
ways.
His worst game of the season, honestly.
He was under 200 yards passing.
But it also wasn't his fault. 3 drops on the first drive, 4 in the first half. That would have been noticeable difference to his statistics. I just think it was a tough-nosed defensive team, Brian Flores-led team. They tried to do a lot of similar things they did back when Lamar went to Miami, and it was the famous cover 0 blitz game. They tried a lot of that. It looked like they had exercised some of those demons, and it was a good fight, a good test for Lamar and the Ravens as they go into a slightly easier 3-game sled against the Browns, the Jets, and the Bengals.
Also, Minnesota, hold on to the ball on punt return. I mean, my God.
2 back-to-back fumbles.
Disaster. The second one they recovered, but that first one, that second one, I thought for sure it was going to end up in Baltimore's hands because it, squirted and darted all through the pile 17 different times yesterday.
I also thought it was notable. That would only be the second most annoying thing for me if I was a Vikings fan. At home, the Vikings had 8 false start penalties. Kevin, stop with the hard counts. Tell JJ to stop hard counting. No. 8 false starts at home?
That's crazy.
What are we doing? Are you wondering how I'm feeling?
Yes.
About the Ravens?
No.
No, you're not. Well, what were you wondering about?
I don't care.
We're so back, baby. We're so back. Come on. Hey, now, this is what dreams are made of.
Under 500.
For now, we play the Browns next week. Yeah. Feeling great.
Little Hillary Duff in celebration.
Feeling great.
Of his Ravens climbing closer and closer towards Mount 500. Very happy for you, I guess. 615-737-1045. We'll get back to your phone calls. It was a wild college football weekend, Vandy. I don't know what people are saying about Auburn and Auburn putting up damn near 40 points the week after firing Hugh Freeze, but that is something that we are going to get into coming up next. No one wants to deal with a plumbing, HVAC, or electrical emergency. Most of the time, you don't know what it will cost or if it'll get fixed correctly or if someone is just trying to sell you something. That's when you call Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, because the price you're told is the price you'll actually pay. There's no hidden fees or surprises when you get your bill. Hiller has been in business for over 35 years and is family-owned and operated. Their techs are professional, experienced, and trustworthy. When they're on their way, you'll receive a photo of the tech and a link to track them in real time. No more wasting time waiting around. 100% satisfaction guarantee of happy you'll be or the service is free. That's the Happy Hiller promise. So book online today at happyhiller.com. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. I've gone a week without having Hattie B's. I don't know that I can go much longer.
We should fix that.
Today, you want to fix that?
Ooh, it's cold outside. I need something to warm my insides. So give me a bucket. Give me a bucket of that
bucket of chicken. There's only two of us. I mean, I suppose we could get some chicken to Ben and to Brett when they come in studio.
Blaine's back. Blaine's back.
Blaine's back from vacation, too? Did we all just say bleep it? We're leaving on the bye week?
I think everybody deserves a chance to recharge.
Well, good. I'm glad Blaine got away, and I'm sure he would be happy to see a bucket of chicken when he walked into the studio.
Ooh, don't tease me though.
All right,
Don't tease me.
We'll see. We'll see. I don't know if you deserve chicken.
Oh man, let me tell you something before we get into whatever the hell we were going to talk about here.
College football.
Okay, that's nice. Brett came in on Friday, and me and Lucas got some of that famous pumpkin bread.
Oh, he brought the pumpkin bread for you.
When I tell you...
He's, by the way, very upset with you because you stole a bunch of the stats that he had prepared for when he comes in studio.
I didn't even know those were his stats.
He texted me and said, Bert is taking all of my stats.
I tried to go after him.
And I told him, I promise you, it's FM radio. The people that are listening to us at this point in time will not be listening at noon. It will be an entirely different audience.
I wasn't trying to take his stats.
How does it feel to know that you've robbed Brett Kern of his moment?
I apologize. It won't happen again.
It's not true. It'll probably happen again.
That pumpkin bread was incredible. Mrs. Kern put her foot in that. It was awesome. Are you unfamiliar with the phrase? It's just how to say something's good. The people in the F&M Bank chat will back me up. If someone puts their foot in something, like if you go to somebody's house and have some spaghetti, and you hear somebody go, they put their foot in that. That means it was really good.
It's just a weird thing to say about another man's wife.
When you put it like that, I apologize again, Brett. Wasn't trying to say she put.
Just stop talking.
The pumpkin bread was incredible.
Right now.
Yeah, I love that pumpkin bread, baby.
Let me talk about some college football. Just because Lucas isn't here doesn't mean we're going to ignore the college football weekend. Diego Pavia led all college football quarterbacks in passing this weekend. It was an electric game, 45-38 in overtime on West End. When the hell Auburn decided that it was going to look like it should have looked all year on offense is beside me. But the week after firing Hugh Freeze, or the game after firing Hugh Freeze, for Auburn to come out there and put up 38 points was not something I thought was possible. Pavia was awesome. 377 passing yards, 11.2 yards per attempt. He also ran for a team high 111 yards. He accounted for 4 touchdowns and obviously the game winner in overtime. It was, and I go back and forth on this because Fitz and I were on the air for Fox nationally when this game was being decided. The start of the Fox show was the start of the second half for Auburn and for Vanderbilt. And Fitzy was kind of going after Vandy a little bit because they were trailing at half, and they had allowed Auburn to look in a way that Auburn had not looked the entire season, pretty much. And I'm going to allow for the idea that Hugh Freeze may have been making them a worse team than they actually were, and that a quarterback change for Auburn can actually make a difference. Like, Robert, I don't know where you fall on this, whether it be college football, whether it be the NFL, just football in general. But I'm going to allow for a one-game sample size for any team, any one team, except for the Tennessee Titans in 2025, because we understand that. But almost in any other situation, I'm going to allow for the idea that a team can be good on a day, even if they are objectively bad. Auburn's now 4-6. If Vanderbilt had lost to 5-5 Auburn, had they hypothetically won, it would have knocked them out of any shot, any path that they had for the college football playoff. They're still alive, and we'll see where the committee ranks them tomorrow. But, I'm going to allow for the idea that Auburn can come out and look good and that Vandy should still be given praise for outlasting Auburn in the same way that 3-6 Penn State pushed Indiana yesterday, because Penn State is an infinitely more an infinitely more talented football team than Indiana, and Indiana still found ways to battle back in that game on the road and win for the first time in Happy Valley in damn program history. Indiana has never won at Penn State ever until Saturday. I just don't think that's as long as you go out there and beat the opponent, like if you stub your toe, then you're banged. Maybe not Indiana, Vandy certainly. But I think that's okay for Auburn and Penn State to show some fight, even if they've had a wretched season.
No, 100%. I mean, it's similar to what the Dolphins did to the Bills on Sunday, where, and it's a good way of distinguishing ceiling and floor when discussing teams, where, that was probably Indiana's floor game for this
Yes.
season. We would agree where they allow a team that is lesser than they are to stick around, but I think it also provides well to their argument that they are a good team because they were able to your point, fight and extend and win as time expired. Despite that incredible catch, I don't know what was better. The throw probably could have been better. The catch was...
The throw was wild, though. Like, he had to jump so high in the air to get that pass off. But, like, the catch by the Indiana receiver is insane because the degree of difficulty in what he did is made even tougher by the idea that the first foot doesn't get down. It's the second foot that he has to drag in the back of the end zone. It didn't make sense from a physics standpoint, the way that he was able to maneuver at that point in time. And it's not like he had a crazy game, right? They're down their best wide receiver, Surratt, who's not playing in this game, and you had a couple of guys step up. I mean, it's the definition of next man up, and I know I'm wearing my Indiana pullover today for people who aren't watching on Zone TV, and I get that people don't want to let me bandwagon because I don't care. I've literally in my life, I've never cared about Indiana football. I've never went to a game in 4 years of college there. So it would be wrong for me to say I'm all in for Indiana at this point. I just think it's badass what they're doing. Like, that game was badass. That would inspire anybody to root for Indiana and to want to see Mendoza and Cignetti and all these players that you've never heard of and are from JMU or other, corners of the college football universe that they've just put together and patched together. The number 2 team in the country. It's crazy. What are you laughing about?
I was laughing at first at you never going to a football game while you were in college.
Never once.
Just ridiculous.
Brother, nobody did.
You
would tailgate the football games. You would go home and watch the SEC.
You tailgated. You
always tailgate.
Okay, cool.
The tailgate, the football tailgate at Indiana, I would put up against any tailgate anywhere in the country. It's insane. But then you go home and you watch Notre Dame or the SEC 3:30 kick.
I can get down with you still tailgating, but despite the catch, despite the fight, the whole game, the most badass thing that happened was when Curt Cignetti was being interviewed by Jenny Taft.
Standing by with Coach Siggs.
Guys, thank you. Well, Coach, Indiana has never won here at Beaver Stadium. How does that change today?
This team's never played here.
This team has never played here, and this team is special. But you said your antenna is up when it comes to Penn State. What concerns you?
Nothing concerns. The time being concern's over. It's time to attack and play.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's so badass.
Yes.
That is so badass.
Holy hell.
Just the end of it. I can't inject this into my veins. I don't think I could be more pumped about something.
When it comes to Penn State, what concerns you?
Nothing concerns. The time being concern's over. It's time to attack and play.
God.
Does that make you just want to
Gets your blood boiling. You literally run. Well, in your case, you ran into a wall, not through a wall.
Well, it was a foam wall. Had a little padding.
I love that man. He is enough to get me to actually care about Indiana football. It's badass what they are doing in Bloomington, and it would still be disingenuous for me to say that I'm an Indiana football fan because I care infinitely more, if I'm being honest, that Indiana basketball started their season and beat the snot out of Alabama A&M and put up 100 on Marquette yesterday. Like, that's the only place that I've got sports fandom in my life is Indiana basketball. And if Indiana basketball was having the season that Indiana football was, I really think that the school, that the university, and that the fan base would be far more invested in the basketball team. But that's not what it is. And they're having to gut this out at a place that's unconventional, and that's what makes it such a great story.
One could say Curt Cignetti is putting his foot into the football team. When used in food,
put my foot in your ass if you don't quit saying that.
Put your foot in food means it's exceptionally delicious, especially in southern U.S. cultures. It's a compliment suggesting the chef has put great detail of effort, care, or his all into the cooking.
How much trust can Mike Borghanszi earn from the fan base if he puts his foot in the Titans roster? We'll talk about it next.
11:01. What's going on? Good morning from the Circus Sports Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Sunday night football last night didn't really live up to expectations as the Chargers get a win over the Steelers at home 25-10. Aaron Rodgers with his worst statistical game of the year, throwing for 161, a touchdown and 2 interceptions. Chargers rookie tight end Oronde Gadsden, who's had a pretty good start to his year, is scheduled to undergo an MRI today for the knee injury that he suffered in last night's game. Titans got some help in their race for the number 1 overall pick with both the Saints and the Jets getting wins. The Titans are in sole possession of the number 1 spot with a 29.4% chance to have that pick at the end of the year, according to the Football Power Index. And in NFL suspension news, during the Commanders' 44-22 loss to the Lions, Daron Payne decided it would be a good idea to punch Amon-Ra St. Brown in the face. He will be suspended next week when the Commanders travel to Miami. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
We were not expecting Ben Jones to be here today, but Ben is true to his word and does not, just like he doesn't miss football games, he does not miss the show. So we appreciate Ben stopping by, hanging out. Good to see you, bud.
Good to see y'all. Happy to be in. You know, if I can make it, I'm going to be here.
I know it. God knows Titans fans can relate to that sentiment from Ben Jones, who we will talk some college football with here in just a second. I was going to talk about Mike Borghanszi and the press conference that he gave. Ben, I don't know if you pay attention to things like that at this point in time. It's something that we can probably get into a little later with some audio that we've got. But just the idea of somebody who's trying to right the ship and really the only person who Titans fans seem to trust right now. He's in a unique spot. He doesn't speak very often. I don't think he likes to speak on a regular basis. I think he'd rather just sit in his office and grind tape if you let him. But it's good to see. I think it's good for the fans to see that they do have a serious football person making some of these decisions, as many decisions as they'll allow him to make. I know he said he was empowered to make these decisions, but, you know, that's always kind of up in the air here.
Yeah, you want him. That's what you want in a guy. He's looking out for the organization. He's excited for the future. He knows what picks he has from the guys we traded away. And we are thinking strictly on, hey, the future for him. And I think he has the right mindset going into this. No, we don't have the roster right now to win a lot of ball games. You're going out there, you're developing your young talent, seeing what you have right now, and playing the guys to see if you need to go get veterans in those positions. Hey, we need to get some higher draft picks in these positions. So right now it's just a huge evaluation process for the Titans and what the future holds.
What do you think is the biggest thing on the roster holding them back right now? Because there's a great many things that you could point to, but if I said, all right, give me one thing that you can fix this offseason, that you would fix this offseason if you could just wave your magic wand and get the thing done, what's the thing that you think is causing them the most harm on a game-in, game-out basis?
Definitely consistency, but you want to win games, you got to have guys who affect the quarterback, and you got to make plays at quarterback. So that's the two things. Yes, you got a young quarterback who needs to make plays for you down the line. If you have a good young quarterback, you're cheap there. That's when you can go pay other players around it to make your team really good. The guys we paid aren't playing. They're hurt. Ridley's hurt. Snead's hurt. Those are your big-name guys who are supposed to be, hey, your lockdown quarter, your guy you can count on any third down man coverage. Hey, I know where I'm going the ball. Calvin's getting the ball. Those guys got to make plays for you. So when you're looking at that process through this whole offseason and stuff, your good players that you pay have to play well, or you're not going to be a good football team. And if you can't affect the other team's quarterback, it is a hard living. If they're sitting back there comfortable, your DB's got to hold up forever. You got to affect the quarterback, and you got to play well in your big-time positions on offense.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, you and I talked, and Lucas was obviously here last week. He's off today, but you and I talked about the rush plan that the Titans had with, and at the time, Draymond Jones was still playing for the Titans, and now he's a Raven. To Robert's great delight, to his glee. I don't know if you heard.
Listen, he's happy.
Yeah, very. It's deeply annoying for everybody else involved. except for Robert Walsh and potentially Titans fans if they can get a better pick out of it if Baltimore ends up making the playoffs and Draymond Jones has 2 sacks. But that's the thing that, like, if you're a locker room, and I get it's always next man up and you can't fret about who the front office is sending away or pieces that are moving around, but that they've taken something from the Titans team that is there to help support Cam Ward, even if it's not on the same side of the ball, that's not going to put the rookie quarterback in more advantageous situations until, obviously we get around to the draft and we see what they do with the pick.
Right. It's an opportunity. This is an opportunity for guys because it's not a lot of guys to play in the NFL for a long time. This is an opportunity for these guys to go out there and say, hey, I belong here or I don't. So you only get so many opportunities, and you got to make a splash. Like some guys who probably wouldn't be getting this opportunity on a better football team and a deeper roster, they're getting this opportunity. So if you want to be in this league, you want to stay for a long time, you got to play a certain way. And this is your opportunity. A lot of people think, I'm going to get more opportunities if I'm on a better team. No. Whatever you're putting on tape right now, every other team is watching in the league. So that gives you a little more motivation. It's like, hey, I'm getting my opportunity, but I got to play well too when I get my opportunity. So that's what I always say to the young guys. You never know when your last opportunity is going to come, so you better make it the best of this one.
That's why I think it's so weird. Ben Jones in studio with us, as is the custom on a Monday. And you and I have talked about this before in some form or fashion, on air and off air, the idea that so many teams or players for other teams are comfortable, like, kind of pointing a finger at the Titans and be like, those guys don't play very hard, or those guys don't come out with the kind of energy that you would expect and any other NFL team to have. And I'm watching football, just as a casual yesterday for the first time all year, Ben, outside of the Thursday night and the Friday night season openers at the very start of the NFL season, and I see the Dolphins, who have no business putting it on the Bills the way that they did.
They played well.
Go out there and beat the Bills. I see the Saints, who are not a good football team, but they make enough plays, and they're still fighting for something down the stretch. The Jets and the Browns. Browns obviously were on the losing side of that yesterday, but it's bizarre to me that 31 other teams are not being accused of something that the Titans have received as a regular allegation that kind of, I don't know the dynamic of that locker room, obviously, beyond the 45 minutes that they let us spend in there for 3 days a week. But it's just it's not an experience that I have seen or that I've been a part of this is my 9th year covering the NFL.
Yeah, the Chargers game was the first game I felt like, hey, they played well.
Yeah, for sure.
Like other games, I'm like, man, we're just don't have enough talent. Like we feel at a disadvantage. That was the one game where I felt like they put together a rush plan, they executed it versus a bad offensive line. They did that, and that's what it should look like.
Yeah.
When you're playing, we're going to Houston. They have a bad O-line. Put together a run plan, get after the quarterback.
Houston's coming here,
yeah. So you have that. You have home field kind of advantage. it is hopefully good weather.
Okay, man.
Yeah, home field advantage.
Okay.
Houston, they were playing with their backup quarterback, found a way to win. Their D-line is the real deal.
Yeah.
That's what you do. You affect the quarterback. They got a pick at the end of the game, went ahead and put it away. They didn't need it, but that's what you expect. If you want to be really good, even when you're not playing at a high level on offense, turn around and look at their defense. They got good corners. They got good guys up front. Those guys are playing the right way on the defense side. Yes, their offense has not been good at all at Houston, but they found a way to win because they were relying on that D-line. We got to have somebody to rely on. What is that at the Titans? Is it, yes, Jeff's been out. Jeff's been that guy. He needs more help around him. Like, we got to have one group be like, hey, we can count on that group every single week and know they're a difference maker in a game.
If there's one thing, because you mentioned consistency across the board, and that's something that, is a weekly struggle to maintain and to try and achieve. If there was one thing about Cam's game that you would hope to see more consistency about, whether it's his footwork, whether it's his timing, whether it's the time that he's spending holding onto the ball, one thing coming out of the bye that you would like to see Cam Ward take a step in the right direction that could affect that overall team consistency.
Find the check down on first and second down. Every play doesn't have to be a game winner. Then when you have to make the play, yes, you can hold it and take a chance. But, hey, get us in third and manageable. So when those shots come available, it's not make or break every time. So because you don't get those opportunities but one or two times a game, don't think you got to make it every play and take the little things early on in the down.
I know that you have seen this clip that's been making rounds, but Derrick Henry doesn't do many interviews like this, which is why it's always fun to see Derrick in a different kind of environment. And obviously the Ravens are starting to get right since Lamar's got back in the lineup, so Derrick was in a good mood. We know that Derrick can have bad moods, and that's not an easy conversation to have, especially if he's got to talk about the way that things aren't going right. But this is a clip from Kevin Clark's podcast at ESPN called This Is Football. And Robert, give me the exact context of the audio. Is Kevin simply asking who Derrick's favorite teammate is?
He was asking who was the biggest badass he ever played with.
All right, let's hear from Derrick Henry.
Ben Jones, probably my favorite teammates of all time. The man could have knuckles bleeding, fingers broken, torn meniscus, head ringing. He gonna go out there and give it 100% every single time, no matter what. Didn't want to miss practice. Body could be hurting, but he's gonna go out there and give it his all for his teammates. Like a brother to me. I still talk to him to this day. But the toughest, hard-nosed football player that I've probably ever been around.
So that's Derrick Henry on the biggest badass he's ever been around, Ben Jones.
That's my guy. It's the reason you keep getting up, the reason you grind so hard in the season, off-season, camp, because you had a special back like him, and you wanted to see him chase dreams and goals and everything. And that was our one chance of like, hey, we have somebody special. We don't want to let him down. So anytime I could go out there and practice, anything I could help him prep, he sat by me on every plane ride. Yes, he's a large human. He could sit anywhere on that plane, but he chose to sit right by me every time. So we watched tape going there and back. He was very detailed, and he wanted to be the best in every aspect, and he was so critical of himself and everything. Like, hey, should I hit it front side? Should I hit it back side here? So me and him had a special relationship off the field, but even more, we were like brothers through and through, no matter what. That is my guy through and through.
Well, and that's like Derrick's trajectory is fascinating for a couple of different reasons. One, because there's hardly ever been players in the NFL like Derrick Henry. But that Derrick Henry wasn't that from the jump, and you saw that ascension and all the different things. And you and I have talked about this before, and whether I can't even remember if it's been since you've retired or since when I was still covering you. But the idea that I don't think that, and I'm not just saying this to blow smoke up your ass, but I don't think that Derrick Henry becomes this without somebody like you and other teammates, right? Lawan was a big part of this. We know the Eddie George part of the story that's gone down in, for lack of a better term, Titans lore. But like for you to see Derrick from when he first got here in 2016 as a second-round draft pick, the third of 3 second-round draft picks that John Robinson made that year, to what he's become now, how invested are you in seeing that full circle moment from Derrick?
Yeah, he was so frustrated early on. He was very quiet. He sat over there, and as a leader, he came in for 4 minutes. He could hit the home runs for us. He gave a breath of fresh air when DeMarco was tired, and he did his role. No, he was not happy in that role. No, he probably didn't want to be here through those times. He stuck it out. He waited his turn, and when he got the opportunity, he took advantage of it. And as an offensive lineman, he was always like, hey, how are you blocking this play? Should I be looking here? Should I be looking there? And he's one of the few running backs that I've played with through all those years will actually want to know, like, hey, when are you coming off on this backer? Or are you trying to get him this way? Like, hey, if you're playing this kind of defensive front, where should I be looking? He was so detailed, and that's what made him good. No, it wasn't because of me. It wasn't because of Lawan. How hard he works, how much he took care of his body. He cared about the game, and look at him. He is a physical specimen. He's one of a kind, and a lot of the times those guys who have all that talent, all the thing, they don't do the extra stuff that make them elite and great. He did everything right, and that's why he is where he is today. It's not just because the guys who are blocking for him. It's because the guy wanted to be special, and he is.
Look at Robert back there glowing as you talk about his running back now. Look at you.
Yeah, next time he calls you, tell him I love him.
Just because Tutu's in that backfield.
It's like, I don't know. And I'm sure Titans fans feel this way, even though he's not playing for the Titans, and I know they hate the Ravens, and so they're not rooting for the Ravens to succeed. But
no doubt.
Derrick is just one of those people that you will always root for. And like the care that he takes with everybody, no matter what their position, and not to turn this into the Derrick Henry love fest or whatever, but like Ben, I will never forget the year that my dad died in 2019, and I was sitting in the press box, and you guys were playing at Oakland that year. And I found out on a Facebook message from my aunt who lives in Cairo, because my dad lived in Egypt at the time, and it was like a jarring way for me to find out that my dad passed and wasn't going to be able to go to the funeral, all these things. And Derrick was still doing the layaway things for people who are less fortunate in the community, especially around the holiday season. And we would go to the community events thing because it's just a good chance to, actually talk to you guys as opposed to just bothering you in the locker room while you're trying to get ready for practice. And like Derrick came up to me without hesitation and was just asking me how I was and like checking in, and like he doesn't have to do that, and I wouldn't blame him if he just ignored the media people and went about his day, because that's not expected of somebody in that role or of that stature, and it's just one of the reasons that I'll always root for Derrick Henry that way, no matter what. Even if it's obviously if I was covering the Ravens, it would be a different story. Like you don't actively root for or against anything like that, but just the person. You want to see the person do well, and I think he embodies every level of that. 100%.
He is a good dude through and through, and he's one of my best friends to the day.
No doubt. Well, I want to ask Ben Jones about kind of a cost-benefit type of situation from what fans want out of this Titan season and what players are still trying to accomplish despite things not going to plan. We'll get into some college football, too. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone.
Smashville hockey. Around here, it can sound like a language of its own. But hey, if you can pronounce Demumbrian, then names like Yossi, Shea, and Marchessault will roll right off the tongue. Nashville Predators, only in Smashville.
One of the largest sports books east of the Mississippi, Circa Sports Kentucky, is now open. Catch all your favorite games on an 80-foot screen with stadium-style seating and live VSiN broadcast daily. Circa Sports, now open at the Mint Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs.
My dad and I used to golf together all the time, but when he hurt his back, it was over.
To have your son want to spend time with you is amazing. That's why my chronic back pain has been so heartbreaking. Surgery, fused bones, long recovery. No way, not for me. A friend recommended stem cells, so I gave Kellum Stem Cell Institute a call.
I'm glad you're out on the course.
Yeah, it's really good.
Call the Kellum Stem Cell Institute today. Swing still looks just okay, though.
Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. Ben Jones hanging out, as is the custom. So Ben is, as Derrick Henry just described, if you were listening to the previous segment, the biggest badass that Derrick Henry, who is also a fellow badass, has ever played with. So I don't imagine that the idea of tanking ever came across your mind when playing in an NFL game or in an NFL season that you maybe knew wasn't going to result in a playoff berth or a Super Bowl run or anything like that. But fans at 1-8, Ben, are, I wouldn't say that, there's probably some of them that are actively rooting for losses. There are some of them that are like, I'm not going to root for losses, but I acknowledge that it is long-term better for a team to lose. Now, that's fans. Yeah. How does a locker room handle, I mean, were you ever on? Surely not a team that was 1-8 or anything like that. What was the worst season you played? Was it the last one here?
No. So I had one losing season while I played. It was in Houston, year 2. We went 2-14.
Whoa.
We started out.
Is that Schaub?
Yes, 2-0. So we lost 14 in a row. 11 under 7 points.
That's awful.
Yeah. So every game was like, hey, how are we going to lose? Like we had the year before that, we went to the second round of the playoffs. Really didn't lose anybody. And that year was the year of what was next, like pick six to fumbles. Like every game we'd be up by 3, 4 going into the last drive of the game and lose. It was just like lost our coach probably like week 6.
Kubiak.
Fired him. So you went through all that. And as a young guy, you're like, what is going on? Don't really know how the NFL works. And the veterans is like, we had great veterans in that locker room. I remember Chris Myers and the guys saying like, hey, if you get an opportunity to play, when you're in there, this is your time to show them, because every team is looking to poach guys. They're going to get ready guys. This team can't win. How can we get better? And this is your time to shine. Like if you're in there, do your best because we want you to see you succeed. So I thank those veterans in that locker room because they went out and tried to win every single week when it was ugly, and it gave us a chance and put a bright light into my future and thinking like, hey, this is how it should be done. We play to win no matter what. This is my resume. This is how you earn a living for your family. No, don't feel bad for yourself because your team stinks at this moment. You're going out there and putting the great performance on because this is your resume.
That's, and not just to single him out because it's just one of the interactions that I've had here in the last couple of weeks. But, like, that's why I respect, among many reasons, I've had Chig now for a couple of years as a player that I've covered. But, like, Chig Okonkwo does not get diminished by any of this in terms of, like, his, and I'm sure, you know, in game it's tough rather than after you let the loss go by and you're back into the facility for another week of work. But like I half jokingly said in the locker room before the trade deadline, no, you can't trade Chig because Chig is one of the people that I can clearly identify wants to be here, wants to bust his ass, doesn't care that the record is what it is and that there will be a draft pick in the future because Chig may not get extended. And I don't mean anything to Chig Okonkwo or, Snead. I know he's not playing right now. He's under contract for 2 more years, but there's a world in which Snead and Ridley both get cut. Those guys don't care about future draft picks. The coaching staff that's not going to be here probably at least in bulk does not care about future draft picks. So when you see a situation like this one and you have a rookie quarterback, like Ben, it is not necessarily in their best interest to win games to hurt their draft position. But I also think, like, if you could speak to the detriment that can be caused to a quarterback when you're just not asked, but you suffer loss after loss after loss after loss, especially if you're a young dude.
Yeah, you want to set your future up for success. You want to put him out there. You want to put the best talent out there. You want to catch the winning bug because that is contagious. Like you saw Daniel Jones go up to New York, had a successful year, get hurt, all the stuff that happens. Then he comes back, gets a new refresh. Hey, yes, I can play this quarterback at a high level, do what I need to do, and they're winning games. So if it's this year, next year for Cam, figure it out as a team. And once you get things going in the right track, everything kind of rolls together. We just got to have some confidence. Yes, we are limited in some positions and depth and injuries. We just don't have enough right now. And that's what this whole process is for the next however many weeks to the end of the season is Evaluate the talent. Who do you like that's willing to fight when it's not pretty?
Yeah.
Because when it's bad, but those guys will go to war with you when it's bad, and you know they're going to be even better when it's good. So those are the guys you want to keep here, and the ones who are not showing up to work on time, not working hard, you can see their performance, get them out of here. Because you can find somebody who wants this opportunity, because it's 1 in 32 teams that want to play in this league, and the checks are not always getting written. When you get that first time being cut or released, you play a little harder the next time.
Yeah, and Mike Borghanszi gave this press conference on Wednesday and was asked, the idea of how many players have you identified that are core, building block type of players? And he didn't go through the whole thing, but essentially he was almost I think Terry McCormick asked him the question where he was kind of leading Mike in a direction. He's like 15, 20. He's like, honestly, if you look at the Chiefs run, and he just obviously came from Kansas City, it's like 4 or 5 guys that have been a part of the whole. So it's not even as big a number on a 53-man roster as people might think in their heads. Like, it's really just about those core guys, those foundational pieces that, whether it be Cam Ward or Jeffrey Simmons. That's why the idea of trading Jeff just never made sense.
Zero.
In any world, and I know you know Jeffrey on a much deeper level than any of us do, but like the thing that I will always respect about Jeff Simmons, even if there are moments that he and I have disagreed, is that I've never once thought that he wasn't actively trying to do 150% of what he was capable of doing.
100%. He is trying to rip your face off at any point of the day, if it's in practice or in the game. So you know what you're getting from Jeff, and he makes guys around him better. Like, he brings guys along at practice. He will call you out, and that's what a good leader does. Like, if you lose that, you talking about it can get bad. It can get way worse if you lose a guy like that. He is a stature on that side of the ball. You know what you're getting from him. He makes everybody else around him better. That's why he's here. Those are one of those core guys that you got to have on the defense. Find 2 or 3 more of those guys that are young guys who are stepping up and making plays, or you go find a guy that you can bring in that will fit in that locker room. And that's how you get your team better fast and build from that. You build inside out with the roster. You know the guys you're bringing in the draft, high-character guys who are willing to, hey, when it's ugly, to keep fighting. Those are the guys you want on your team, and that's how you win games.
Ben Jones is in studio, as is the custom on a Monday. We've been talking some Titans, obviously. They're coming off a bye, no game to react to. We do have games in the college world to react to. Is that as much fun as you've had watching a Georgia game this year? Because
finally.
They just whipped the snot out of Mississippi State on Saturday.
Yeah, I was wondering, you go into Starkville, the bells will be ringing down there. They came out and scored early. I was like, oh, here we go. We rallied. We turned the ball over. We got a turnover right back. And after that, I was like, we're smooth sailing. We played really well on offense. Defense played well. That was the first game I've said, like, hey, that looks like a winning team for 4 quarters, and we're going to need that this week because Texas is coming into town, and a lot is on the line this week.
Yeah, I mean, but I guess for you, and like obviously you're watching this as much as a fan as former player, the idea that just trying to figure out what Georgia is this year. We've had this conversation with you before, and we've talked about kind of the inverted nature of what this Georgia team has been for a couple of moments. And the close win over Tennessee, you're looking around, you're saying, okay, I didn't know they had that in their bag on offense, but can't get a stop. And Tennessee's not. They've got an obviously effective offense, but they're not a world beater at this point in time. And to your point, I watched that opening possession for Mississippi State, and they were able to kind of move guys at the line of scrimmage in ways that I'm not accustomed to seeing Georgia moved at the line of scrimmage on defense. But I came away from that game, Ben, and Mississippi State's not great, right? They've got one SEC win in I don't know how many years. It's been bad for them for quite some time. But they're not like a pushover, I would say, even though they lose a lot of these games here late, whether it be in overtime or otherwise. That's the first moment where I'm like, all right, Kirby's got him. Like, this is a situation where this is a national championship contending team in ways that you might have been able to poke and prod a little bit previously leading up to this.
Yeah, I think we're figuring out our identity on offense. We know who our playmakers are now. Who do we need to get the ball to? We're running the ball effectively. That's where in the past couple of years, Beck was kind of like, hey, if Beck didn't play well, if he didn't turn the ball over, we won games. But if he turned it over, we lost. We really didn't run the ball well the past 2 years, and now we have been relying on that run game, and Gunner's been making really good decisions with his legs and making plays down the field when you ask him to. And that's what Kirby wants. He don't want a world beater at quarterback. He don't want somebody that has to go out there and win the game at one position. He wants to be a collective guys all in it together and doing it the right way. And that's kind of how he runs his program. He doesn't need 11 superstars. He wants 11 guys who have the same mindset and going out there every week and competing.
So I want to ask you how you view something like Auburn taking Vandy to overtime. Ooh. Because it's easy for talking heads,
right?
And I happen to be on Fox with a talking head that was kind of dismissing Vanderbilt for letting Auburn push them, and at halftime they were leading. And I don't know, maybe it's just because I've covered enough games at this point in my life where I'm not going to dismiss any one team in one sample size that they can come out and play a good football game, right, even if they've been a bad team on aggregate. So how do you view Vandy's win over Auburn and the way that Auburn pushed them a little bit? Not a little bit. 45-38 is ridiculous.
Auburn has a lot of talent, especially on defense. Georgia would love to have a lot of those guys that they have over. They have two great edge guys. They got two really good receivers, Cam Coleman and Singleton, that they went and got from Georgia Tech. They have talent over there. Yes, they have not played well this year. They find a way to lose in 2 or 3 of those close games to Oklahoma, Georgia, and one other game this year. And you're looking at those teams like, man, if they would have just made this play, they could be sitting in a different spot. But they didn't. This was the first game. They really had nothing. Nobody expected them to win. And they went out there and looked like they played free. The coaches just called what they wanted to. They didn't have a million play callers influencing it. They had DJ on the defense coordinator. They didn't play as well on defense as I thought they would. I thought they would let it loose on Pavia. I thought the athletes would out-man Vandy.
Like Texas.
Yes, I thought that was going to be the same thing. The way the game started, I was like, this is what it should look like. Auburn has better talent over there. But it comes down – that just shows you Vandy's fight. Vandy's willing to win, and they do not give up. Like, I don't understand how Vandy's good, like, playing them. Like, you look at them like, man, those guys, that's Auburn over there. That's LSU. That's Texas. But they do a heck of a job over there. They have built a culture with the right guys that care and all bleed the same thing, same message, and they're going to fight to the end. Like, we said, oh, Texas just relaxed. I think it was a little Vandy. Now, looking back at it, they're not going to quit. They're that little street rat or mangy dog that you can't get rid of, and that's what you want. They're building their program the right way, and I can't wait for the last game of the year, Tennessee. And Vandy. I can't wait.
Lucas keeps treating them like little brother, and I'm like, buddy, you are going to be
little brothers grow up. Ask my older brother. You grow up, and that little brother punches you every once in a while, and sometimes those licks hit and land. Come on, Tennessee fans. You do not want that little brother to sneak up and hit you one time. All it takes is one punch. So I can't. You better put them away when you can, because they're going to have a message and a mindset that they're going to go to Knoxville and try to win there.
Well, I guess like it's so hard for externally, Ben, for people, not just me, but like even you, it sounds like, to wrap your head around the idea that that's something that unquantifiable or intangible can actually have such an impact. Robert, do you have the Curt Cignetti sound from before the Penn State game? Because Indiana, obviously it's the difference between Indiana being the number 2 team in the country and what Vanderbilt's doing, currently ranked 16. We'll see. I can't expect that they would move up too much just by nature of beating Auburn, given Auburn's season. But we'll see what happens with the College Football Playoff Selection Committee tomorrow. Like Cignetti before the game with Jenny Dell on CBS. Can I hear it?
Thank you. Well, Coach, Indiana has never won here at Beaver Stadium. How does that change today?
This team's never played here.
This team has never played here, and this team is special. But you said your antenna is up when it comes to Penn State. What concerns you?
Nothing concerns. The time being concern's over. It's time to attack and play.
Thank you.
Like, that's...
Love that.
No Indiana coach in my lifetime has ever sounded like that. And this guy has obviously, got an unconventional path, Pavia too, but just how much a team can feed off of energy. Like, who was that for you guys here?
Yeah, he is your leader. Like, he is the guy that when things get hard, they know they trust that guy. He has a message. He says it all week, and those guys believe in him when it comes to no matter how much time's left. Penn State should have won that at the end.
Yes.
And Indiana went there and ripped it away from them. They're like, no, we're not going to go out this way. We're going to go make the plays when it's not given to us. And they went and earned it at the end. And that's from the leadership in that group, the seniors, the guys they've brought in, and a coaching staff that's all together has one mindset, one mission. and they believe that they can beat anybody, and as long as they have time on that clock, they can go out there and win. And that's how you have a winning culture and a program right now.
It's going to be fascinating to see what happens with both of those teams and Georgia. I mean, it's just a fun college football season. I know it hasn't felt as fun for you, even though your team keeps winning. But like, you gotta feel pretty good about the trajectory that your Bulldogs are on.
Yeah, we got 2 hard games. I never feel good when we play Texas and Georgia Tech. I hate playing them because it's just like you should win, you should have better talent, but they're just like all my Tennessee buddies who are texting me over there at Richland. They're over here.
You're getting texts?
Getting texts. They work, Jacobs. You need to go to work. And they're worried about the little brother. And that's how we are. Like, when we play Georgia Tech, you're like, you don't want to give them credit. But they're good. Like, you got to give the younger little brother a little credit every once in a while because you don't want them to come in fighting mad. Like, you pump them up, make them feel good about themselves, then do what you're supposed to do at the end of the year. You beat them.
Ben Jones in studio every Monday. We appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for stopping by.
Absolutely.
Love you, Ben. Love you, Ben.
The way he hit that button to turn his microphone off. Speaking of polarizing figures, Donald Trump was in the booth for a broadcast yesterday of an NFL game. We'll play you some of the funniest sound you've ever heard coming up next. Well, that's what the Giants just told Brian Daboll. You're not working here anymore, bud. That's breaking NFL news during the commercial break as Ben Jones was leaving. Ross, in a very breathy tone, came in here to confirm the reporting of Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter and Tom Pelissero, because I didn't know it was true until NFL insider Ross Johnston came in here and mouth-breathed, Brian Daboll's been fired.
Those roster updates were a mistake.
You did this.
This was all a mistake. Yeah, when he came in here and said, word on the street.
What word on the street? Twitter? Dumbass.
Yeah, reports.
He looked at me so seriously and said, well, I can't confirm it. I was like, yes, there are 17 people on Twitter who are reporting the news.
Want? He's coming back.
He's back there. Go ahead, get in front of a microphone and tell people how it was that you confirmed the reporting of every NFL insider.
And confirm via a text message that I received that Brian Daboll has been fired.
Who texted you?
Brian Daboll. He said, bleep me. I've gotten canned.
That's NFL insider Ross Johnston.
It would have been so good if he said, who texted you? Oh, my dad told me. My dad was like, hey, did you see Brian Daboll got fired? It's kind of surprising.
I mean,
right?
it felt like, I don't know if you saw any of his press conference, but there were some, not highlights, but like clips being played on SportsCenter yesterday of Brian Daboll at the podium, and he just kind of sounded like he knew he was going to get fired. But the time doesn't make sense. Dart got concussed. They had a 10-point lead. Russell Wilson had to play. If I'm Brian Daboll, I'm looking around and being like, you're going to fire me because Russell Wilson can't play football anymore? That's just nonsense. Now, I'm not saying that Brian Daboll should have that job in perpetuity. I also think that Joe Shane should be fired way before Brian Daboll gets the axe. It's like Chris Greer in Miami. That man had been in that job since 2016. Mike McDonald and the Dolphins, the rare moment that the Dolphins do something competent, the Dolphins are doing the right thing by at least giving McDaniel until the end of the season. But Chris Greer is the reason the roster was in that state, and they did it before the trade deadline because they didn't want him making any moves on that roster in an act of desperation to keep his job. Why the hell does Joe Shane have a job right now if Brian Daboll does not? And I suppose the Giants reserve the right to fire Joe Shane after the fact. And I'm not preying on anybody's downfall, but just from a sensibility standpoint, Joe Shane should have been fired first.
I don't disagree with that. I wonder if, and this is just speculation and hope that everything's okay with Jackson Dart, but he has been tested for 4 concussions this year. My argument for keeping Brian would be the fact of keeping Jackson Dart's developmental plan on the same path. Like, what are you working towards? What are you trying to get better at this year? I don't know if an interim can just jump in there and pick up right where you left off, but there has to be a plan, right? And I almost wonder if for his own safety they would shut him down in for lack of a better term, a lost year. Like, why would you continue to throw him out there when the year is lost? You don't want him to get hurt behind this. I wouldn't say it's an awful offensive line, but I wouldn't say it's great either. I wonder if there's any thought to that.
Well, at least it's not like the Titans, where the Titans fired their coach and then they spent 6 hours trying to figure out who the interim was going to be. They've already made Mike Kafka the interim.
I was about to say.
That's just so stupid. It's just another.
Seems like
I had a beautiful week in Miami. I'm sitting at the beach. Oh, what? Ross reporting it?
Yeah, what you got? No, do it from over there. I think it's funnier.
Kafka just texted me. He's been named interim.
Okay.
I'm glad Ross could support those claims.
I had a lovely bye week, not thinking about the dumb things that this organization has done in the last 6 months en route to being 1-8 as a football team. And even the Giants are capable of having an interim plan in place before they fire their coach, the way that this team was not capable of for 6 damn hours.
Okay, listen, now hold on there, Skeeter. Don't be getting upset. Here's a stat that'll remind you that the Giants are also a bottom dweller. They're down here with the rest of us, scumming it up. The Giants' interim head coach will be the 6th head coach since 2016. The other 5, can you name them? How many can you name?
The 6th head coach?
Ross,
Shut up.
God, send him to the
shadows.
He's
already in the depths of that small, dark, smelly room that
I
you
gotta
have.
start farting. And
Just get out. Just get out of the room. Get out.
He's leaving.
All right.
I just pushed one out.
Okay, so the head coaches that have been fired in New York?
Yes.
Okay. Who's the dad of the Vanderbilt quarterback that was here for a period of time? It's going to drive me crazy. Pat Shurmur.
Correct.
The guy with the bad haircut and the mustache.
Getting closer.
It's going to drive me crazy. What was his name? Ben McAdoo. Ben McAdoo. I am not going to kiss you, nor will I give you a soda.
He would someone that hears trials, someone that sits.
Joe Judge.
Joe
Judge. I won't take that credit for that one because that was a gimme. I don't think I could name the rest of them.
Defensive coordinator for the Chiefs.
Oh, Spagnuolo?
Yeah, correct.
Really?
Ben McAdoo, Steve Spagnuolo, Pat Shurmur, Joe Judge, and Brian Daboll.
What was Spagnuolo's last year?
I think he was an
interim, right? Had to be.
God, you got me with the confused face.
Because Spagnuolo, I remember being the Rams head coach, but I don't remember a Steve Spagnuolo. He had to have been an interim coach, and they didn't fire the interim coach, so I don't think that should count.
Well, I'd have to look it up.
All right, it's fine.
It's somewhere in here. Yes, he was the interim coach in 2017.
Okay. I didn't realize that he was that recently in New York as opposed to with Kansas City. It just feels like he's been in KC the entire time. So I am curious to see what their approach is going to be moving forward because I remember there being quotes from Joe Shane around the combine or at some point in the pre-draft process, maybe Senior Bowl, where essentially he's giving quotes as if to say that he goes down with the ship. So if Daboll gets canned, he expected to be canned too. What happened? Joe Shane still got a job for right now. Did something about that change? Did Brian Daboll do anything besides, his record is horrendous. He's 20-40-1. He does have a playoff win in there, and he did make Daniel Jones look like a starting NFL quarterback for a period of time where they had better players. But I don't see the logic behind right now and why do it piecemeal.
Yeah, he lost it when he got skinny.
Daboll?
Fat Daboll was way cooler, way better of a coach. As soon as he got skinny and started worrying about he was worried about the wrong O for a while. And
you were accusing him of Ozempic use.
I'm accusing
recklessly
him.
Speculate
Look
quickly.
at him.
Recklessly
Look at him.
speculate. We need the sound.
Dadgummit.
Reckless speculation that Brian Daboll used Ozempic to
and
lose
his
the weight.
wife. He and his wife. Google search it. Even if you're driving, even on the highway, look it up right now.
So disrespectful of you.
Okay, I'm telling you, if Chris Farley was skinny, would he have been a superstar? No.
It's like what's Superbad, Jonah Hill.
Yeah, there you go. Yes.
Have you seen him lately?
He looks like a rail.
Yeah.
He looks like a rail.
Again, reckless speculation, if you would, for me on some Jonah Hill. He looks like he's done heavy drugs. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you've got that much money. I assume you would have.
Oh, is that what we would all do with that much money?
I think if you lived in Hollywood and you had the opportunity to go to these parties and there are mountains of substances, I think that anyone with a pulse would enjoy the libations.
I know Brett Kern wouldn't, which is why he's here to class things up in studio. Coming up next, look at him. The Tennessee Men's Clinic is here to help you if you are experiencing performance issues, because that happens to a lot of guys As you get up there in age, as your body starts to change, you may notice some differences, and those things don't have to be inevitable. The Tennessee Men's Clinic has been helping guys with performance issues for over a decade. Thousands of men have got back to feeling like themselves. These aren't cookie-cutter treatments. The Tennessee Men's Clinic is urology-based and staffed with multiple licensed providers who specialize in men's sexual health. They use proven treatments tailored to your specific situation. No one size fits all. Whether you're dealing with mild or moderate ED, performance issues, or even conditions like Peyronie's disease, their medical team will work with you to create a plan that gets results, often with options most men didn't even know were out there. Your initial appointment is only $99 and includes a full medical consultation, blood work, and if medically advised, a test dose right there in the office. So call them today at 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090 or book easily online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com.
What's going on? Just a hair before noon o'clock. Good afternoon from the Circus Sports Studios. I am Robert Walsh. The breaking news in the NFL just came out moments ago. The Giants are firing head coach Brian Daboll, according to multiple sources into Jordan Schultz and Tom Pelissero. Daboll went 20-40-1 with one playoff win during his 3 seasons at the helm of the New York Giants. The Giants have also announced that offensive coordinator Mike Kafka will now be the Giants' interim head coach. Sunday Night Football last night didn't really live up to the expectations as the Chargers get a win over the Steelers at home, 25-10. Aaron Rodgers with his worst statistical game of the year, throwing for 161 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Chargers rookie tight end Oronde Gadsden, who's had a great start to his year, is scheduled to undergo an MRI today for the knee injury that he suffered in last night's game. Titans got some help in the race for the number 1 overall pick with both the Saints and the Jets getting wins, and now the Titans are in sole possession of the number 1 spot with a 29.4% chance to have that pick at the end of the year, according to the Football Power Index. And NFL suspension news. During the Commanders' 44-22 loss to the Lions, defensive tackle Daron Payne thought it was best to punch Amon-Ra St. Brown in the face He will be suspended next week when the Commanders travel to Miami. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. Now to Brett Kern on the Buck Rising Show on 104.5 The Zone.
All right, Brett Kern is here, which makes us happy as always. He had a successful weekend picking games, it sounds like. I was not here on Friday for the pick segment. Sounds like you acquitted yourself well.
Not bad.
Not bad. We'll take that.
Are the snowflakes bothering Lucas today?
Oh, certainly. He's in Birmingham, I think, still, where his parents live.
Traffic. There's no traffic. It was great. Got down here in record time. There's a little snow flurries out there.
I was getting school closure notifications for the just wisps of snow that were trickling through the air today. But
it's just another Buffalo day, folks.
Yeah, you got your Toledo on. I've got my Indiana on. We're repping our alma maters.
Big one this week, Wednesday night, Maction at Miami of Ohio, down in Oxford.
I wonder.
It's a hockey school.
I wonder how much Maction is being affected by the YouTube TV thing. Have you figured that out yet, by the way? Or are you just riding your Hulu subscription?
I did a 1 month of Hulu, and I'm just gonna ride it for as much as I can. So the whole multi-view thing is kind of a bummer, but at the end of the day, it's first world problems. And Hulu's, Disney Plus. If you have Disney Plus, you can obviously watch anything on ESPN. So I probably could drop Hulu, the monthly for the live TV and just go with the Disney Plus. And then obviously YouTube TV. I mean, we got Sunday Ticket. So that's really the only thing that's preventing me from dumping that. So
holding people hostage, it seems. I never realized, or I never
could take this long.
It's insane that they've let now 2 football weekends pass without a resolution. So they must be far apart on the number that ESPN wants versus what YouTube TV is paying, to the detriment of nobody but the customers, it seems. The news of the day is that Brian Daboll has been fired by the New York Giants. Joe Schoen, the general manager, remains in place. That is confusing to me, I add parenthetically. But, Robert, we do have additional news. Joe Burrow is returning to practice for the Bengals.
I will add a little asterisk there. He will return to practice today in a limited capacity. They are designated him to return from injured reserve.
Yes.
So he will never be more than a limited for the next 21 days. And the later report says they are hoping to have him in a month. Okay, that's good. You can have Joe in a month after you play the Steelers, the Patriots, the Ravens, and the Bills. 4 more losses.
Oh, you think they're going over?
All I'm saying is, why
Did you not just watch the football weekend that I watched?
Did you not watch them the last week they played?
No, I know.
They were awful, man. And I don't understand the point in rushing back your quarterback say they win one of those games. And then I'll get off my high horse because I don't want to take away more of Brett's time after I took more of his stats away on Friday. Say they win one of these games. If they win one of his games, they will be 4-9.
Yeah.
When he comes back. I don't think that you put him in harm's way if there's not some sort of avenue for him to get into the playoffs. He's not going out there. It's not like Cam Ward where you wanted to play and learn, and I wanted to be healthy. I don't want him to have to play behind that abysmal offensive line in Cincinnati. So, sure, Joe Burrow can be coming back all he wants to. I think he should be more worried about securing his house, not getting it broken into, ensuring that Batmobile, I'm not really going to dress it up on Halloween. And then he has to show everyone his Joker face paint. We get it, buddy. You're cool. You're handsome. You're not playing, though. Your team sucks. Let us enjoy it.
You done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay.
He's the one guy that was able to take out the Chiefs in the playoffs, though.
Well, that's the thing. Who's good right now, Brett?
This just goes to show the amount of parity in the NFL. I mean, right now, as it looks, New England has Buffalo left and Baltimore. But outside of that, you got the Giants, the Jets twice, Dolphins, Bengals. Compare that to what Indy's got. Indy technically has about, the third hardest schedule remaining, and they have Texans twice, Jags twice, which was a great game yesterday.
Ridiculous game. Just unbelievably drunk game.
Yeah, and I had the Texans covering, and I'm glad they did. So they still have Seattle, San Francisco, and at the Chiefs. So what Indy's got left is extremely hard, and it's kind of setting up a path for New England, which is crazy, to potentially get that number 1 seed. So, Kansas City still lurking. The Jags, Baltimore with what they're doing. I think Pittsburgh and the Jags are the two that are probably going to be out. And then obviously they have Baltimore and Kansas City getting in. So all that matters is you just got to get to the playoffs. And I think the way this is set up, Buffalo having that huge win against Kansas City and then goes down to Miami and flops. Really, you just got to get to the playoffs in really both AFC and NFC. And, anything can happen.
It's just, you say that, and then I go to cover a game at Nissan Stadium on Sunday where I know the results are predetermined. It's very bizarre to see one team that's not capable of doing something that 31 other teams seem to be able to do. But I digress. I think that Buffalo loss was so huge for the Patriots yesterday. So huge for the Patriots yesterday. It's insane. And honest to God, Brett, there's no world in which New England should be better than Indianapolis, but Drake May is a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. And Daniel Jones made a hell of a throw late in the game to Tyler Warren, and Tyler Warren and Jonathan Taylor are excellent at what they do. That seems to be able to travel internationally, not just domestically. How good and how deep the Colts' skill position players are so that you can survive some Daniel Jones mortal moments.
It's Vampire Jones now.
Vampire Jones?
Yeah, did you see he had the bloody mouth in the fourth quarter? Bryce was like, hey, it's Vampire Jones. I started busting up. I was like, yeah. He's got that look.
He looked like, what's Steve Buscemi's character in Happy Gilmore? Not Happy Gilmore. Billy Madison.
Oh, him where he's crossing
where he's
off
putting
the
a lipstick
names.
on and crossing the names off of the list and muttering things about, all right, you're safe for now.
I mean, look at this. Yesterday the Colts rushed for 323.
God.
JT having 244 of it for 3 touchdowns. Warren 8 for 99. I think Indy 8 explosive plays yesterday.
Ridiculous.
Obviously JT with the 83-yard run. I think the part that's a little concerning for me with the Colts is last 2 games, against Pittsburgh and Atlanta. He's been sacked 12 times.
Yeah.
They've had 8 turnovers to the 2, so they're -6 in the turnover margin in the last 2 games. They had 4 fumbles yesterday. Vampire Jones had 3 of them. He had 3 last game, so that's 6 fumbles, right? So I don't know if that's potentially a little chink in the armor.
I think that's as many as Cam Ward has all season, 6 fumbles.
It's a lot, but it's, over these last 2 games, obviously losing to Pittsburgh, honestly, to only lose by 7 is kind of a, when you lose the turnover margin 6-1, it's remarkable. Fumbling a punt, Downs fumbling a punt inside the 20, Pittsburgh getting it, still couldn't score. It's remarkable that they only lost by 7. I don't know if that's a testament to the Colts or more Pittsburgh after last night. I think it's more Pittsburgh. But, so, I think there's maybe a little chink in the armor for the Colts. Drake May, you guys were talking about earlier about MVP with him and Stafford. And Matthew Stafford's been playing lights out.
So
another unbelievable game yesterday. Devontae Adams leads the NFL wide receivers in touchdowns. I think he got an oblique injury yesterday, so we'll see how that affects things. But they still got to play Seattle twice. A lot of these divisional matchups, these playoff matchups, Kansas City has to play Denver twice. Pitt plays Baltimore twice. Seattle's playing L.A. Chicago sneaks into the playoff picture here, but they technically have the hardest schedule left. Buffalo's schedule's not easy with New England, Philly, and Tampa still. I still like Indy. If you can run the ball the way that they can run the ball and ride Jonathan Taylor, you can go pretty far. But there are a couple questions, in that offense that's a little concerning that hopefully they can fix. Because, like I said, the rest of the year schedule for them is not easy. So the Jags they look great early, first 3 quarters. I was like, all right, they're going to kill the Texans. But, the Texans going 7 for 9 on 3rd down in the second half. There were 20 penalties in that game for 170 yards. which is unbelievable. So, but, Mills was able to find Nico and Schultz, 26 targets between the two of them for 14 catches for 189. And Davis Mills almost throws for 100. But, for Indy, that's a defense, that Houston defense, you don't want to have to face twice. So, we'll see. It's crazy to think that the Patriots might be getting this number 1 seed, but all signs are pointing to them not really slowing down for them to go into Tampa. Congrats to Tampa. Tucker had 9 rushes for 53 yards, first guy to rush over 50 yards on New England, which is nuts. But Henderson,
that's a ridiculous stat.
Henderson, 14 carries for 147. He had that long as 69, where that's when you are a very well-coached team. When you're fast enough to get ahead of everybody, but to look over to the sidelines and say, do I go down or do I score? I don't know if that's a testament to his speed to be able to do that, or just how well coached that team is for him to think, wait a second, should I score this or should I get down?
Yeah.
Right. But for them to go on the road to Tampa, is pretty remarkable. And I think New England struggled a little bit with protecting May, and Tampa Bay was only able to sack May once yesterday. So it's 8 weeks left, a lot of huge matchups coming up that I think will really kind of clear out kind of this playoff picture.
I want to get into some more of what Brett just touched on there, specific to New England and the team that I thought had the most impressive win of the weekend. We'll do that coming up next. Brett Kern has many more impressive stats than Robert Walsh does.
Great minds think alike, Robert.
Suck it, nerd. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. Unlike the changing leaves of fall, your money does not grow on trees. That's why you need to give Trajan Wealth a call today to ensure that you're making the right financial moves for your future. Trajan Wealth is there to help you through that process. And I've talked about Trajan Wealth for a while now. Let me tell you, they make retirement planning simple. No pressure, no confusing jargon, just clear, honest advice from fiduciaries who put your goals first. You will feel more confident, more prepared, and honestly, you'll feel relieved. If you've ever wondered if your plan could be better, simply get a second opinion from Trajan Wealth. They will offer it to you for free. 2 locations here in Middle Tennessee, Brentwood and Franklin. You can call them at 615-270-5000. That's 615-270-5000, or visit them online at TrajanWealth.com. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. This is a paid advertisement. Robert, should I make fun of the email that we just got from the Titans publicly, or should I, be mature for once in my life?
You should be mature. They just had a bye week. There's no reason, nothing to be angry about.
Okay. Maybe I'll take the high road just this one time. But if
we still had primetime tonight, so
I can be petty on primetime, but I can't. Why can't I be petty here? Just because Brett's here and you don't want me to embarrass myself in front of Brett?
Don't embarrass him. We have to be nice in front of company.
All right. Maybe this time. Well, there's the end of the show when Brett leaves, and then maybe that's when I'll take my shots. No pun intended. 615-737-1045 is the number. Now they'll really pat me down next time I go to the practice facility. Bunch of weenie behavior over there right now. Anyway, Brett Kern is in studio, as is the custom, and we were just talking about the NFL weekend that was. We talked about the idea of the Patriots being in very good position to get the number 1 overall seed. The big development for New England yesterday is that Ramondre Stevenson missed another game, and so Travion Henderson continues to have these breakout performances. There is no reason for them to go back to Ramondre Stevenson.
Not the way he ran the ball yesterday. Just looked explosive, powerful. Obviously, you could see the speed difference, and then obviously there's the fumble issue too, which I know drives Vrabel insane. So I think, Vrabel's not one to just kind of bench somebody right away. He kind of gives them the right to prove themselves. And I think, Ramondre was given ample weeks to play. And, for Ramondre to come out and play the way he did yesterday, obviously, like I said, 14 for 147 is pretty impressive. So, I think Henderson will be kind of the guy going forward, especially as this weather gets a little bit colder. Obviously snowing a little bit in Nashville today, but New England's only that much worse. So, I definitely see, Henderson definitely getting a little bit more of the load going forward, which is huge because you got to be able to run the ball November, December, January, obviously into the playoffs. You look at like Seattle yesterday, one of those teams, 46 rushes for 198. Darnold only had to throw the ball 12 times, which it helps that, Lawrence has 2 touchdowns, defensive touchdowns.
DeMarcus Lawrence, for what it's worth.
Which is crazy. But, if you can rush the ball, the Lions had 226 yards rushing yesterday, 546 yards total offense as Dan Campbell took over play calling. Gibbs had 15 for 142 and 2 tutters. So, JT obviously did what he did yesterday too. But, Miami yesterday, 32 rushes for 197. So, obviously, these teams, Miami's obviously not really in the playoff picture, but, it's you got to be able to run the ball. And I think, Henderson just looked really good back there yesterday for the Patriots, and obviously see his workload going up as it gets deeper in the year.
Well, so there's a number of wins yesterday that were impressive for a couple of different reasons. You mentioned Houston and how they were able to pull one out at home against Jacksonville with a fourth quarter that was as impressive almost as what the Broncos did to the Giants a couple of weeks ago. That's
poor Giants, man. They fired their coach, 4 double-digit it was their 4th double-digit loss yesterday when leading.
Yeah.
Leading by double digits. And to lose the game, 0-4.
It's ridiculous.
Which is probably why you can your coach.
Yeah, that's fair. But, if the quarterback keeps getting concussed and you keep having to toss Russell Wilson out there,
Jackson Dart's going to learn pretty quick that's how he runs the ball. He can't be running the ball like he did a little bit yesterday, taking some of those hits. So there was one he got absolutely smushed,
and that was his most impressive run yesterday, right, Robert? You were talking about that earlier, the one where we think he probably got his bell rung.
Yes,
excellent contribution by you.
I was definitely listening. Not working.
Shut up. So. I'm looking at Miami and what they did at home against Buffalo and saying, very impressive. They made Josh Allen, who was the leading MVP candidate at the time, look mortal. Houston did what they did, obviously. I was very impressed with Caleb Williams yesterday as well, even though it was against the Giants. I thought Caleb Williams acquitted himself well, and they finally got Rome Odunze going after he's had a couple of weeks. And they've got a lot of different targets there in Chicago right now, so there's something to that. I was also impressed with Tyler Shuck. It's my first opportunity to really watch him in a larger sample size, but damned if Seattle didn't have the most impressive performance to me yesterday, Brett, because they are overwhelming on both sides of the ball. Reek Woolen, since being discussed as a trade candidate, has been playing lights-out football. DeMarcus Lawrence, to your point, had 2 touchdowns, defensive touchdowns yesterday. Sam Darnold didn't really need to do much.
Yeah.
And if not for the existence of Jonathan Taylor, I don't know if Jackson Smith-Njigba is not the offensive player of the year.
Yeah, Njigba's really, he's over 1,000, 115 per game, which is insane. 16.5 per catch, 5th in targets at 85. Jamar Chase, by the way, has 107 targets, which is first in the league, which is nuts. But JSN's got 63 catches, which is 5th, and Jamar has 76, which is first. But I think the big thing is for JSN is he's first in explosive catches, so more than 20 yards, and he's got 18. And obviously this defense is ready to roll. They can get after you with their front 4 and still obviously go out and cover with the other 7, which is huge. So, obviously this game coming up against the Rams, and Matthew Stafford, which to me, Stafford's playing at a level that, is obviously MVP worthy, 2,400 yards, which is 4th, first at 269 per game, 25 TDs, 2 picks, which is, him throwing 25 TDs is 5 more than Jared Goff, who sits 2nd. But you look at their defense too, the Rams defense is only giving up 17 points a game. Houston's at 16.7, they're first, but LA's 2nd. And so, they obviously still have to play each other twice. The Rams and Seattle, and the Rams still have the Lions and the Bucks on their schedule. But man, I tell you what, they're dangerous, and so is LA. 49ers are kind of slipping up a little bit. They're still in the mix, but for me, I think the biggest thing with the 49ers is why they're kind of struggling to maybe gain some ground or anything like that is they're second last in the league at -8 in turnover margin. Which is really hard to be winning football games when you're that far down. They're down there with the Jets, obviously -10. They're last in the league. You got Miami -7. Vikings are -7. Washington's -6. So obviously some lower level teams that are just struggling in the turnover margin. Whereas you got the Bears. I mean, look at the Bears, +14 in turnover margin. You got KB with 4 picks. Tremaine Edwards with 4 picks. Both are tied for the lead. And I mean, like I said, they got the hardest schedule left. They got Philly. They still have Green Bay twice. The Lions, San Francisco. I mean, Pittsburgh for what it's worth. But, Seattle's just – I still go back to Seattle. And they play amazing on the road, too. I don't think they've lost on the road this year, which is pretty crazy. So
no, and their home record is ghastly.
Yeah, I think they're – I don't know if they have a losing record at home, but it's not. I don't know if it's 3-2 maybe.
Mike McDonald. I've done that twice today.
McDaniel, McDonald.
Well, it's like league lead. I have a problem with saying league lead and rivalry week. It's like a speed bump. I got to slow down every time. But McDonald, damn it, has a losing record at home overall in 2 seasons as the coach,
which is nuts because that used to be a very, very tough place to play. The Legion of Boom and it was, man, you couldn't even hear yourself think out there. But it'll be a great matchup when those 2 teams. That'll be obviously for the division, potentially for the number 1 seed. Tampa Bay has a little bit of an easier schedule leading out, so I wouldn't be surprised if they can vie for that number 1 seed. But yeah, I mean, even you look at like what Miami did yesterday. Cook only rushed for 53 yards, and last week we were talking about, hey man, can Cook get past JT in this rushing, for the year. And obviously Miami, Buffalo was down most of the game. Obviously they didn't score up until, the 4th quarter. They had 0 points. First drive of the 3rd quarter for Buffalo, 15 plays. And Josh Allen throws a pick on the 5-yard line. They come back, stop Miami. Next possession for Buffalo is when Allen had a 15-yard, quote-unquote, tush push, whatever Buffalo does, and he fumbles it. So just wasn't a great game for them. And you think Buffalo would go, not after beating Kansas City, just kind of chug along onto that potential number 1 seed and really challenge New England for the division. But they took a big step back yesterday. So all of a sudden that loss kind of puts them back in that mix of, hey, I mean, they, they still got New England, they got Philly, they got Tampa, Houston left. And so, if you kind of fool around, all of a sudden you're looking at, vying for that 7th spot. potentially getting stuck in that A spot and missing the playoffs. So obviously losing to Miami yesterday kind of hurt their chances of really, going after New England, especially with the schedule that New England has left.
Yeah, I mean, just to update people on where things stand pending Monday Night Football, which obviously has consequences because it's Philadelphia at Green Bay. Philly and Green Bay would be the 2 and the 3 seed right now pending tonight's result. But in the AFC, it's Indy, Denver, Patriots, Steelers, Chargers, Bills, and Jacksonville is the 7th seed. Kansas City outside looking in right now, and with a head-to-head loss against Jacksonville. So that's not an ideal situation for them. In the NFC, as Brett mentioned, Seattle at 7-2, then Philly and Green Bay, who will play tonight. Tampa, the Rams, the Lions, and then the Bears as the 7th seed. So 3 NFC North teams would be in if the postseason started today. I want to go back to the Rams and something that you were talking about prior to us starting this this second segment. McCreary is in Los Angeles. Roger McCreary is in Los Angeles on the Rams. He was traded. And Roger McCreary is obviously a starting player here. Is, on a scale of a roster that's significantly below average, Roger McCreary was a better player.
Right.
In L.A., did you say 11 snaps on special teams?
Yeah. So last week versus New Orleans, 11 special team snaps. This week versus the 49ers, once again, 11 special team snaps. The game before he was traded, he was playing 79%, 39 plays on defense. So that's a guy that you're looking at, 70 to 80% of you playing on defense to go to a contract year. You kind of play that percentage out, those amount of plays. If he doesn't sign, here in Tennessee, he's getting some load in on defense, and there's an opportunity for you to go get a pretty decent contract. And then everybody's like, hey, man, congrats, you're going to L.A. You can, it wouldn't surprise me at all if the Rams get the number 1 seed, get that first round bye the way they're playing, especially, like yesterday. But everybody's all happy for him. But then all of a sudden now you're just playing special teams. You want to talk about losing some coin. That's tough when you go from playing that much defense to now all of a sudden you're kind of a special teams situational guy. So I'll be kind of curious to see if he gets any defensive reps. Or if he just stays special teams the rest of the year, and then obviously he becomes a free agent, and we'll see what happens.
Just as an update, because Mike McCoy is speaking to the media right now, if there is anything notable from Mike McCoy's press conference, we will update you, but we weren't going to carry that coming off of a bye week when Brett Kern is hanging out in studio, with all due respect to Mike McCoy. Actually, I'm not yet seeing Mike McCoy updates. That press conference was supposed to start at 12:15, so I don't know what he's making.
Could already be over.
Maybe he's stuck in security.
How are you going to get to be petty and I can't be petty?
I wouldn't petty. It was an honest mistake. He might be stuck.
Shut up. Go back to doing the podcast. So as somebody said, who the hell is Mike McCoy in the chat? That's not very nice. He's just trying to do his job. Damn it. He's just trying to get through these last 8 games for the Titans. That's speaking of which, and we don't have to get too much. There's not much to talk about as far as Tennessee goes, to your point, Brett, coming off the bye week. But there are a number of Texans players that are in concussion protocol alone, not just C.J. Stroud, who was obviously ruled out of that game. But as we look at it right now, Titus Howard, starting offensive lineman, Jalen Petrie, starting safety, also each remain in the concussion protocol as the Texans get ready to play in Nashville this weekend. So, I suppose coming off a game where they played their best game of the year, even if it wasn't a loss against the Chargers, there is reason to believe that they might be able to handle a shorthanded Houston team, but only one of those players is on defense, and that defense, it's
nasty.
Justice for the Texans defense. They deserve so much better than what they're getting this season. I know that's DeMeco Ryans' specialty. I know he was excellent when he was in San Francisco as the coordinator there, and obviously has a great deal to do with now not just the play calling, but the personnel on that side of the ball. Patrick Surtain is the reigning defensive player of the year, Brett, and he's missing some time here down the stretch this season. But I don't know if I don't like Derek Stingley better as a corner.
Yeah, it's
the dude's a stud.
Yeah, it's that defense, like, we were talking about earlier, 16.7 points a game. That's tough. You got a defense that can travel that can keep you in games. The Jags 73-yard punt return yesterday for the Jags for Washington. Usually a special team score like that can help you out big time. You saw the Jets yesterday get a kickoff return and a punt return for a touchdown.
How crazy does that make somebody like you? Where you see a kickoff return touchdown followed by a possession where the Browns have to punt and then the Jets just run that back too.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm on the Jets, that's great. If I'm on the Browns, that's not great. So, usually special team scores, I think that's why, when the Titans and the Chargers and DK had that punt return, just the percentage odds of you winning a game go up big time if you can get a special team score. So, obviously, the Jets worked out. But in the Titans case and the Jags case, just couldn't overcome it. And that defense got after T-Law yesterday, getting 5 sacks. As much as the offense, is kind of struggling. Obviously, Davis Mills, they had a heck of a kind of a second half. Like I said, they went 10 of 15 on third downs yesterday, and 7 of 9 of that in the second half. And Mills throwing for 292, and obviously connecting with Nico and Schultz. Is a huge part of that. So, but when you got a defense like that can travel, it can always keep you in games. And, right now they're, I think 33 or 34% chance to make the playoffs, which is not great. But, never know. I mean, you got Daniel Hunter, Will Anderson. I think Daniel Hunter's got 7.5 sacks. Will Anderson's got 7. So that's doing some work on the defensive front.
So we have an update on Joe Burrow and that timeline.
An update about the update?
An update about the update.
Right.
Ari Myrov via Jay Glazer says Joe Burrow told Jay Glazer that he expects to be back by Thanksgiving, which is week 13 when they play Thanksgiving night at the Baltimore Ravens. He's ahead of timeline.
Are you okay?
I'm more than okay. I ain't scared of him. Go look at what happened last year. Hey, they can score all the points, they can throw all the yards, and it'll be all for nothing. It don't matter to me one iota. If you want to rush back because you want to have a fighting chance of getting the playoffs, oh, yeah, the Bengals are going to do it this year. If you think that that's what you're coming back for, sadly mistaken. You're coming back for an ass whooping, buddy.
This is the sound of a man whose team has a 73% chance to make the playoffs.
Yes, sir.
And beating down on the Bengals at 2%.
You tell them. That's right.
He damn near called me in tears yesterday. No, not again.
Come on with Brad here.
We're not doing it. You know what? I can't let this continue. We're going to take a break. We're going to let Brett Kern get on with his Monday. We're not going to subject him to more of Robert's Ravens celebration for an under 500 team that struggled against J.J. Dan McCarthy yesterday. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's hot chicken. It's good to be back from vacation. Although I don't know, Robert, I have enjoyed today's show because we got to talk about real football being played. And I'm reading tweets being put out from Mike McCoy's heightened security press conference. I'll explain what I mean by that here in just a second. Where he's saying things like, third down is a big emphasis for us now.
Thank God. Glad that they're putting their eyes on those things. That's why people get paid the big bucks. I don't see anything wrong with that. A little troubling it's now, though.
It's the word now that really set me off. Like, I'm just...
What is this, going to be week 11? Coming into week 11? Now. That is troubling.
I really, genuinely, I came back from a week in Miami. Beautiful weather, beautiful scenery, beautiful setup down there on South Beach. And I was genuinely like ready to get back to work. And then I just read quotes like that. I watched the day of football that I did yesterday. I realized that there's probably no chance I'm going to see anything like that, even remotely, in a game that I cover at this point in time. In fact, I probably did. It was last week against the Chargers, and I don't think it's going to happen again. Maybe I shouldn't be overly pessimistic, but that compiled or compounded by Mike McCoy quotes where he says third down is going to be a big emphasis for them now.
McCoy also says they are focusing on pass blocking.
Please tell me that's not a tweet that's interrupted. I can't.
We hadn't really worked on we had worked on blocking, but not necessarily refined versions of that for both running and passing. All you can do is laugh, man. All you can do is anything else, you're just going to get pissed off. Like, so you might as well just laugh.
There's nothing. It doesn't piss me off anymore. The only reason I'm pissed off is because it's a waste of time. Like, there is no. I don't root for them. I don't root against them. In fact, I want them to play good football because I want to talk about football that matters. I want to cover football that matters. I know there's a contingent of the fan base that thinks that I actively prey on the Titans' downfall. No, damn it. The fact that our ratings are this monstrous, not to brag on us for a little while, with a football team that's damn 10-40 in the last couple of years, I'm not saying that we need an extra pat on the back, but imagine what we could do with a winning football team.
Yeah, imagine if the Titans had the supporting cast that you do.
Oh,
yes, I'm alleging it is Lucas and I that are to be backslapped for these said ratings, which I haven't seen. I've heard they're fantastic.
What do you mean? You send them to me every week?
Whatever.
Somebody said y'all can be Giants fans. No one will judge you. At least Dart's fun. I mean, I guess Cam has some moments, but God,
It's okay. It's okay, buddy. It's okay. Lucas will be back tomorrow. Hopefully he brings us something from Lorenzo's birthday bash.
Oh, was it his dad's birthday?
It was.
Oh, that's lovely.
Have you been able to look at his Instagram?
Is he going to be in any better of a mood? Because his soccer team got shelled. Messi put it on them. 4-0. They went to Miami and got smoked.
Yeah, I think that he will have a very professional candor about him, and he'll come in here and do the job he's always done. Also, the Vols were on bye, so he's a week removed from the Oklahoma loss. I think he'll be in great spirits. Hopefully he has some of his father's bolognese or ravioli or pizza.
The pizza looked good.
Oh, my God.
The pizza looked real good.
That is one of the things that I think I will have to make an effort to do when I get older. I think you can make them as far as a pizza oven goes. If you're unfamiliar and you don't follow Lucas on Instagram, he's putting these stories up of his father's pizza oven.
At Lucas Panzica. We'll give him a plug even.
It's an outdoor wood fire pizza oven, and they're pulling pies out of here that look like you'd pay $30 to get a slice of them. They look incredible. Hopefully he comes up here looking fat because I'm tired of him being skinnier than me. He eats all that food and doesn't look anything like me. Hopefully he'll bring some of that good stuff up here with him. Looking forward to it.
All right, can I be petty now?
Yeah, well, how much time we got?
We got 10 minutes left.
Yeah, okay. You can
9 minutes left in the show.
You can be a little petty. All right, I'll start the timer. 3 minutes of petty.
3 minutes? Okay.
All right, go ahead.
The Tennessee Titans had sent us an email a couple of weeks ago about team security protocol updates, okay? And this is something that Blaine actually noticed on the pregame show, like the heightened level of security at Nissan Stadium. There are more, and of course I say this tongue-in-cheek, this is not actually true, but from our vantage point at Gate 3 doing the pregame show, there appeared to be more members of security or SWAT or Metro Nashville Police Department than there were actual fans in attendance. Now, of course, that is not true, but there is a notable increased security presence at Nissan Stadium. But apparently this is now applying to the media, too, at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park, where we just received an email, and I just saw the Paul Kaharski tweet. You want to read the Kaharski tweet? Or do you want me to read this first and then read it?
This is your 3 minutes of petty, buddy.
Okay. So, our new security system protocols are in effect today and moving forward. As a reminder, please bring your stadium game day credentials every day as a part of your entry requirements. All media and visitors, it says, to Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park will go through a screening process very similar to what you experience on game day coming into the stadium, walking through a detection machine and putting your bag through an X-ray. The hours for screening at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park media entrance are as follows, and it gives a bunch of media times. If you arrive outside of these hours during these days, you will have to enter the main lobby to screen, where a member of the security team will clear you and then walk you back over to the media entrance. You will not be able to enter the media workroom unless you are screened, so please plan your travel accordingly as it relates to media availabilities. Wait, what threat does Terry McCormick pose to anybody at the Titans practice facility? Are you gonna pat Teresa Walker down as she's walking into the building? What is the impetus of this? Like, you're gonna make it harder and less convenient to go cover your 1-8 football team? It's a very, very specific to media plight, so I'm sure the vast majority of the audience doesn't care about my bitching. But I don't understand. Like, unless there are things that we are not privy to, and there may well be, that have caused people in that building to feel threatened. But threatened by the media? That the people that you see every day? I mean, Teresa and Terry and Kaharski and all these people have been there since they were in Houston. You need them to bring their game day credentials to let them in the building now? All right, that's my 3 minutes up. Okay.
Right on the. It wasn't really an air horn to provide an exclamation mark to what you said, more so to just note that your 3 minutes are up. And you have to revert back to your stage persona of being warm and bubbly.
I just think it's funny. All right, polls. Let's get on.
Well, hold on. No polls.
What do you got?
They're never going to let me in there again. There's no way.
When have you ever been there?
Training camp.
Oh.
Training camp, you don't think they're gonna frisk us and check us? They're gonna be like, Bert, no way. We heard what you did to toilets. We heard what you did to your neighbors. We heard about the forking. We heard about the orcharding. We heard about all the rolling of the yards. There's no way you're allowed in here.
So if I forget to take my gummies out of my laptop bag.
You're done, dude. Lock them up.
Am I not gonna go?
Lock them up. Lock him up. Throw away the key. Throw him under the building. I hope they're ready for you,
dude. Can you imagine?
No, I can, because the text would be like, went to the Titans, had gummies, I'm arrested. You and Lucas have to do show. That's what the text would say.
Oh, my
God. Also, glad that you did the polls today. Generally, I feel like you forget when Lucas is out.
No, I did the polls. You ready to do some polls so we can go home?
Yes.
Okay, let's go.
Oh, I hate how he says this. That makes me feel weird. Ooh, it makes me feel bad. Two Rivers Ford sponsors the polls of the most trusted Ford dealer in all of the South. What did we learn about the Titans during the bye week? We got a number of responses. They won because the other teams are bad. God, some of these are, guys, let's just get real serious for a second.
What happened?
If we're going to reply to these things, let's just like proofread them a little bit. So it doesn't
Did
sound like
I spelled something wrong?
No, it's the people replying. They won because the other bad team lost. I don't know. They just none of them make any sense. That life is better when they aren't playing. That's what they learned. That the number one pick is ours for the taking. We didn't lose. We beat off. Glad for all of you guys and your bye week jokes. What did you learn about the Titans at bye week?
That Titans fans feel good about Mike Borghanszi and they don't feel good about anything else.
What is your current approval rating of Mike Borghanszi on a scale of 1 to 100? Poppy says 80 seems like a fair number so far. Too early to tell about anything else. Titans QB1 says not sure, but on my scale of 1 to 1 million, I'd say about 463,267. We'll say that's a 4 out of 10.
I mean, they're 1-8, and the quarterback that he drafted number 1 overall doesn't look. I mean, does he look worse than all the other rookies?
Worse.
He doesn't.
Tyler Shuck played his best game of the year. If you look at his first two starts,
that I saw. So
if you watch his first 2 starts, he was terrible in his first start. But Cam has the largest sample size, so I think it would be easier to find his average game, at least his first year in the NFL. So the worst quarterback, I don't know. Justin Fields is, if you look at QBR, is 2 places in front of Cam Ward, despite having under 100 net passing yards for 5 of his contests this year. So I feel like you could look at metrics to support that, or you could look at metrics that would oppose that.
Yeah, I don't think that Cam has had a worse performance than Dylan Gabriel has had, right? I mean, there are like, I would probably look at Dylan Gabriel and Cam so far in their NFL careers. And again, Cam has the largest sample size of any of them, so it's easier to pick at Cam Ward. But I don't think there are moments that Cam Ward has that are obviously better because he has a higher ceiling than Dylan Gabriel. But I do not feel appreciably that Cam Ward has had a greater impact on the Tennessee Titans than Dylan Gabriel has on the Browns. I don't know. It's not been a good year. So relating to Borghanszi, the offensive line moves that he's made haven't panned out. The defensive player in Draymond Jones that he signed was good, and then he traded it for a pick situation that could potentially become a better pick, and that's, I guess, what you do when you're 1-8. But I don't think it's not enough of a sample size to like indict him or to praise him. But I'd say if you're as bad as they've been and the personnel is as big a reason why, and the personnel was supposed to be better this year and was on paper better this year than it was last year, then I can't give him anything but above a 50%. Like, I'd probably put him at a 45.
Okay. I feel like a 50% approval rating is pretty high.
Well, if you're doing it in presidential terms.
Yeah, if you're a president.
Like I saw Trump's got a 37 right now. He'd kill for a 50.
Where would you rank the Indiana game winner amongst the greatest CFB catches of all time? WH says, I mean, it's a regular season game against a 3-5 team. So while the catch was cool, it's nowhere near the greatest with regard to championships or anything of substance. Andrew just laughs at you, and TD40 echoes most people's sentiments. Only you care, Buck. It was a badass catch, though. Badass game.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, if you want to make it about me, that's fine. I just objectively thought it was one of the best college football catches I've ever seen.
Would you rather the Titans win games for Cam Ward's development or tank for the number 1 overall pick? 55% say tank, 44% say win what you can. Pretty even split.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not ignorant to the idea that the better draft pick helps them in the long term, because theoretically they have the quarterback solution, so they can shop the pick for a team that needs a quarterback solution. But I can't in good conscience advocate for tanking. I'd rather see them win games. That's the show.
There's the polls.
See you tonight on Primetime.